what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. I will drown in pain. Nothing is what I say. I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. Nothing is what I think. Yeah. 'Cause I will drown in pain. Hey, I just wanna change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't wanna hang around, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. You, I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. Hey, I just wanna change the world, but I'm not gonna wait my turn. I don't ever want to come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. You, I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My world. Whoa. You guys ready? Yeah. Whoa. I can't pretend. No, 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 no. Oh, I hope it never ends. It's about you. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant. Come on. Hello. 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 Oh! Dude, how we doing? Sunday Thursday night. I will be wearing this Jets hat in a little bit. I'm not going to wear it now. But they won today, so I'm going to wear a Jets hat for my kid in New York who's liking the Jets. I mean, he wants to be a Jets fan, but it's hard because they never win. If you arrest yourself again, I'll help you clean up the mess. Woo. Let's go. Dude, green. See, you know what's funny? Dude, I hate green. Okay? I do. I fucking don't like green at all. I've never really liked green. I never wear green. I never... You know, it started, my irrational distaste for green started back when my, living in Wisconsin and everyone was a Packers fan. I don't like the Oregon Ducks. I just hate the color. However, Radiant, the song that we were just listening to, that's from this band. And so I used green in number 3 breakdown. I don't know why. I hate the color, but I used it for the band. It just sort of fit the band. It felt like the vibe. And I really like this green Jets hat because it's a good color of green and it's got an American flag on it. And my kid, when he was moving to New York, he told me, he asked me to get a Jets hat. So there you go. But yeah, dude, I just don't like fucking green, man. Sorry, Portland Duck. Yeah, I've never liked green, dude, and I don't like the Ducks. See, I like the Antifa frog, okay? I do like the Antifa frog, but that's an exception rather than the rule. Like I did. Oh, Jake is in the house. Let's go. Let's go. Dude, college football, guys. I'm a UCLA guy, bro. All right, college football, I stick with my alma mater, okay? Dude, I'm a UCLA guy. So I'm gonna be a UCLA supporter because that was my college. And I don't really like college football at all. I can't stand it. I can't stand it, right? I hate college football. I always have. I don't like the shape of the football. I don't like how it's like the skill levels are widely varied. Right? That's my problem with college football is everyone in college football, there's like 5 good athletes on the field and everyone else is just getting run over. It's like pretty unbalanced. And so I never liked it. But I will say that as a kid, I really liked the Michigan Wolverines. Okay. I was a big UMich fan as a little kid. All right. In the Midwest, I liked the Wolverines, dude. I liked their helmets. I liked their aggressive defense that they always had when I was younger. And then I became a UCLA fan when I went to UCLA, right? And so that's it with me in college football. For mostly, though, I don't like college football. I find it fucking boring, right? I know people don't like me. Dude, a whole bunch of people really love it. And I respect the fact that people love college football. I get it. But greetings, Earthlings. It's good to be here. Let's go. You're about 20 minutes east of Ann Arbor. Let's go. Dude, I used to play shows. I never played in Ann Arbor, but man, I used to have great shows in Lansing. I really did, dude. By the college there was a venue in Lansing, and I knew a girl who lived in Lansing who she was plugged into all of the touring musicians in the Midwest. She was like a hot spot, right? She was, dude. She knew everybody and she would help get me shows. And when I would play in Lansing, I would stay at her apartment and there was like a homemade ice cream place around the corner from there. And we would always, I remember I used to get homemade chocolate ice cream every time I went to Lansing. It was so good, dude.
I would like have a day off just so I could go gorge on ice cream with her, dude. She was super cool. But you know what I'm saying? So Wayward Soul, honest question, why do I not go to protests for support? So, I mean, Wayward, the thing about the protests is like, that's not really my vein, right? I may go out there once, but there's a bunch of right-wing agitators and there's, you know, the potential to be arrested by fucking whatever, ICE, or like get into some shit. And I like to stay out of jail, right? And sometimes that kind of trouble finds me. So I don't feel like it's my job to really go to the ICE detention center and protest. It's not really like, I'm here. I'm on the air, boss. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that are going to that protest, they're protesting there and they're holding down the front line and shit. And I'm more like making videos about their shit. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of like how I look at it, right? Is everybody sort of has a thing, right? Everybody has a niche, right? But I do want to go down there and I think take some footage, right? But, you know, I don't really, you know, plus I'm old, dude. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with protesting old. Like, don't get me wrong. I know a whole bunch of people that are losing their Medicare and shit have been protesting. There's nothing wrong with protesting as an old person, but I feel like the shit that's going down in front of the ICE facility is like the young man's game. You know what I mean? And that may be crazy. I did enjoy that old guy though, who said he was going to beat the shit out of 𝗙𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗏, right? The guy with the flag, he was pretty funny. And you know, I definitely related to that guy, but I feel like it's a young person's game. You know, that's just me. But I'm conflicted though, you know? I am, because sometimes I feel like I should be there, like, you know, because it's so local. And it would probably be really good content to go there and live stream. But I'll be honest though, guys, I don't really like that kind of like, you know, sort of, I don't know. There's a whole realm of influencer content, which is like, go to the hot spot, take a camera, get in the middle of some shit, get arrested, and then go talk to like news channels because of it. But like, I don't really feel like that vein is really my sort of thing. You know what I mean? You know, I'm more the spokesperson, right? I'm the talker, the thinker, the guy who gets in front of the camera so much, the foot soldier, you know? You know what I mean? Does that mean the protest and outside of ICE? The protest outside of ICE has been there like every day, right? I mean, pretty much, you know? Don't want to be a 𝗙𝗏? No, I definitely don't want to be a 𝗙𝗏, right? You know, dude, I'm wondering though, guys, here's what I'm wondering. Okay. What I'm wondering is this. Hold on one sec here. Oh shit. All right. I think I did something here. All right. Give me one sec here. All right, there we go. There we go. I got to fix some shit. There we go. All right, that should be good. Dude, I closed one of my windows accidentally. But, so what I was saying is that, is like, I just feel like everybody's got to find their lane. You know what I mean? You know, you gotta find your lane. wandering around looking for content is a bit boring. See, you know what's really interesting though is like I knew some people back when I was doing Fortnite that were like the IRL streamers. They would take their camera backpacks and they would go to fucking, you know, TwitchCon and they would be making all this content. And they loved that kind of like being with the camera out in the wide open space on the street. I think they felt like, you know, it's like a type of being a type of rock star, you know, that like some people really like that type of rock star. Like I'm going to go walk out in the middle of the street and just talk my shit out in the public and, hey, you let me interview you, right? Some people really love that, but I don't really love that. Like when I go outside, I like coming onto this stage and doing my performance and shit. But then when I go out into the world on the street, I like to just be another dude with a hat and sunglasses on that nobody knows who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, I don't know, dude. It's a weird thing. It's like a weird, because I've even thought, well, man, it would be fun to go out and do some of those sort of like Good Liars type interviews, but it doesn't really suit my personality. You know, like even if you look at the news channels, right? There's news people who are on location. Hey, I'm on scene in the hurricane. I'm on location. They're sitting there with the lights out in the open. They're grabbing people and talking. And then there's people that are at the morning show and are in the studio under the studio lights. I am the studio guy, right? You know what I mean? That's like who I am. I like the studio. I like to go into my office and fucking go get nuts, right? You know, let's go, baby. That's how I like to do it. Dude, it's hard. You know, it is. It's hard though, because sometimes I do feel a sense of responsibility. You know what I mean? You know, dude, I remember Mark Dice, dude, you know, yeah, protesting is important. I used to protest more when I was a younger man, right? Dude, you don't need to get caught up in the mix and take a billy club to the 50-year-old knees. Yeah, well, you know what's funny is I'm hoping to, you know, I don't know, maybe down the road we'll talk to some of these people, because like that, remember the woman who stopped ICE, right? Kylie Delgado. I found her on Instagram and we're now Instagram friends, and she like knows somebody that I know. So I'm starting to meet some of those people. So maybe we'll be able to give them a little bit of a bigger platform to do what they do, right? Because we're sort of like, we take a beating on the left. Like obviously you look at what's going on with the right wingers. Somebody is paying for all those people, right? You have that freak Katie Davis Court. You have Cam Higbee, Nick Shirley, Nick Sortor, that David Medina. They have Brandy Cruz. They have like 10, 20 right-wing influencers that are literally just being paid. Somebody's paying for their hotel rooms and daily per diems. Like there's an entire right-wing budget for them to just fake content about, you know, Chicago and fucking Portland, right? But it's so funny though, because I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Portland stuff, but they've been posting all day about how we won, Antifa's been run out of town or whatever. And it's like, well, I don't think you're going to, I don't think you're going to, like get the National Guard if you guys won. You believe there is support on both sides? It's different, Wayward. There's no support like that on the left-wing side. I know they talk about Antifa. It doesn't exist, okay? There's no national support network funding Antifa. The people in Portland are just local activists, okay, that used to protest loggers. I mean, they've been doing it for 20 years because long before politics got heated here, they were protesting environmental shit, okay? So the environmentalists have centered here. And because there's a large Proud Boy contingent, the people that hate white supremacists have gathered here. And so it's just a cultural place where if you're an activist, you know to come to Portland, and there's a network of activists that like rely on each other, and fucking, it's like a community. Okay. It's not being funded by a left-wing billionaire. Okay. Now the right-wing shit is being funded. That's why it's so coordinated. That's why they're all posting the same clips and the same fucking every day. You'll see all of the right-wing fucking influencers post about the same thing because they're getting paychecks. They're getting fucking, you know, like that tenant media shit. They're getting paychecks and they are getting direction. Okay. They're getting coordination. And what's here in Portland, these guys, it's not some giant Antifa thing. It's just an activist culture that's been around for a long time, right? Long time. It started with the loggers, guys. It really did. These guys started with the loggers. That's what was the first sort of huge protest here in Oregon, was against the timber clearing companies in Oregon and Washington. There's a long history of these guys fighting the clearing of old growth forests. Yeah. No, they are the kings of projection. They are. They are the kings of projection. Dude, you know what's crazy though is how I ended up here, right? That's what's really weird. I laugh, you know, that like, because I don't know if I told you guys the story, but so when I graduated high school in 1987, I only applied to 2 colleges. Okay, I applied to UC Berkeley, okay, mechanical engineering, UC Berkeley, because Berkeley was the epicenter of the 1960s fucking, you know, radical activist revolution. So I applied to UC Berkeley, and then I applied to UCLA, aerospace engineering, as a backup, right? Because it was close to home. That was it. I only applied to 2 schools, and I got accepted to both. But I was too afraid to move away from home. So I didn't have enough money really. So I didn't even go to Berkeley. And I was always bummed out. Like I went to UCLA because it was local, but I was supremely disappointed because UCLA is not a liberal school, guys. I mean, sure, there's a film school there and there are some liberal people that go there, but mostly UCLA is a fucking medical center, guys. It's a conservative school. Most of the people that went to UCLA were pretty conservative, rich kids. Okay. They were smart, but a lot of them were going in to be doctors and lawyers and shit. This is in the 80s. I mean, compared to Berkeley, right? I mean, all schools are a little bit like, you know, whatever, like less conservative than a small town. But UCLA was fucking conservative. When I was there in 87, it was real frat boyish and real athletics. Okay. It's a very athletic based school. So there's a lot of jocks and frat boys. Okay. And so I was a little bit disappointed. You know, is it more left now? I mean, it seemed more left now, Masher, because of, you know, like the Palestinian protests and shit. But it was definitely pretty conservative in the 80s. But anyway, right? I was bummed that I didn't go to Berkeley, okay? That I was too scared to go that far away from home. Now, here's the thing though, is also I was in a fraternity at UCLA, so it's possible that I didn't see the more liberal side of the school too, because I was in the engineering program. And then I switched to English creative writing right before I quit. But like I said, I was in a fraternity. So I was in the bro section a lot. But I feel like moving to Portland gave me that sort of Berkeley experience because I moved to this city that is really fucking, right? I moved to this city that is really, you know, like activism oriented. Engineering in a fraternity. Yeah, I kind of abandoned the engineering right away, Gabe, right? I did. I abandoned engineering after the first couple quarters and I chose joining a fraternity. And then I switched to econ business and because that's what all my fraternity brothers were. And then I was like, this is fucking boring. I took statistics and was like, fuck this major. Bro, dude, I took one statistics class and I was like, dude, econ can go suck a fuck, bro. Seriously, it's the most boring shit. Like, you have to be, like, I don't know, you have to be a special type of person to endure that shit, you know? And so then I switched to English creative writing, and then I quit and start a rock band. But yeah, man, dude, so I found Portland by accident, all right? I didn't even choose Portland, guys. I did not choose Portland. You know how I ended up in Portland? Can I tell you how I ended up in Portland? All right, in the 90s, there was a bar, a pub, an English pub on Sunset, right across from the Hollywood Athletic Club. Okay, this is Sunset and Seward, all right, which is like, you know, like east of Highland, okay? East of Highland, east of Highland, east of La Brea, right? And so we would hang out at the Cat and Fiddle. The Hollywood Athletic Club was a billiards place, a pool hall, okay? And we hung out across from the Hollywood Athletic Club at this pub called the Cat and Fiddle, all right? There was a bartender there. Her name was Jen Beast, and she was in a band called Beast. She was a really good friend of mine. So I was at the Cat and Fiddle every single night, okay? And on Sundays, one of Miles Davis's old bandmates had a jazz band that used to play outside on the patio, all right? And so I was a Cat and Fiddle regular. Now, there was a guy who also used to hang at the Cat and Fiddle, but he wasn't there every day. He was just there like, I don't know, a week, a month. And his name was Tucker, okay? And Tucker had friends in Portland. He was friends with Courtney from the fucking Dandy Warhols. And he was friends with this band called the Brian Jonestown Massacre, which is a really amazing Portland band that most nobody's ever heard about. But they're really fucking good. But they were part of the early, like mid-90s, early Portland music scene. Before Everclear, okay? Everclear, you know, fucking Alex Zakis moved here from San Francisco and ingratiated himself into that scene and became Mr. like rock and roll guy. But this was like the mid 90s, okay? All right. And it was Brian Jonestown's Massacre was like Tucker's good friends, okay? And this was like before the Dandy Warhols like blew up, okay? And during the time that they blew up, but it was around that time. Now, what happened is Tucker used to come back to the Cat and Fiddle and he would just regale us with stories. Okay, we did a lot of cocaine with Tucker. All right, we did a lot of cocaine and heard a lot of Tucker's stories in the Cat and Fiddle about everything that was going on. Dude, the Exploding Hearts were amazing, but they fucking, you know, at that bus crash, they had a fucking van crash down by Eugene, right? They were fucking amazing too until they died. But anyway, so Tucker just always talked about Portland. Okay, now, simultaneously around this time, my band had been wooed by Columbia Records, but I fucked it up. I told you guys the story about how this guy pursued me for like a year, and then I sent him an empty CD case, and the A&R rep got really mad, and he thought I was fucking with him, so he just stopped paying attention. So, like, Soul Driver fizzled because I fucked up the Columbia Records thing. And for a while, we had this magic, but the way LA is when you have record labels interested in you, if you don't sign the deal, your crowd just disappears. So just like that, like overnight, my band was like dead in the water. And I was pissed and I was sad. But so what I did, though, is I lived in this apartment building and the drummer of Soul Driver lived next to me. And I lived there with a girlfriend. There was this guy, Shane, who lived down the way. And Shane was a problem child, okay? He used to get really drunk, and he used to not be nice to women. And women would fucking come fleeing Shane, and we would have to protect women from Shane from him being a fucking douche to them, and then fucking take him back to his apartment and like get the women cabs home or let them stay with us. I mean, it was a real problem. But Shane was a dick, okay? He was a fucking dick. He was a piece of shit. And so one day I got sick of Shane, all right? And I'm like, dude, I'm tired of him being a fucking like a serial abuser of women. And so fuck this guy. So I broke up his band. I stole his drummer and I ended his band and sent him on a fucking nosedive. And I took his drummer and then we formed a new band called Full Blown Red. Okay, that's you hear Do You Need and Freedom. Those songs are Full Blown Red. That's Shane's drummer. I fucked him up, bro. I completely destroyed his band. Took his entire musical life from him, all right? But fuck him, bro. He's not a good person. But anyway, so I decided to one-up it, and then I moved the whole band into my apartment. So now, not only did I steal his band and steal his drummer and start a new band, and he didn't have a band anymore, but now his bandmate was living in the apartment building with me and my bass player. There were 3 of us living in a single apartment. The drummer slept in a sleeping bag in the closet. Me and the bass player had 2 beds in the living room. It was 3 of us in one fucking room, bro. And I was like, fuck you, Shane. Fuck you. Right? I mean, it was kind of a dick move, but whatever. You know, this guy was kind of a douche. But anyway, so what happened was we went, okay? We went to the Cat and Fiddle one night, guys. We were there one night in like, I don't know, October, all right, of 1998, all right? October of 98, we were in the Cat and Fiddle one night, and one night while we were drunk at the Cat and Fiddle, we decided, let's move. Let's move. And we're like, okay, we have to decide tonight where we're moving. And what we did was we sat in the bar getting shit-faced, thinking about places we could possibly go. I wanted to go to New York City. It's too expensive. Minneapolis was too cold. Seattle had already happened. I wanted to go to New Orleans, but both the drummer and the bass player were from the Atlanta area, so they didn't want to go back to the South, right? And we went through all the different cities. San Francisco was too expensive, right? We thought about Chicago. We thought about Pittsburgh, right? We went through all these cities and we couldn't agree on anything. And then fucking Tucker came storming in. And he was like high as a kite. And he was like, I think he had like Brian Jonestown Massacre t-shirts or something with him that he was giving away. And he was telling stories about Dante's. And like, you have no fucking idea. This is so fucking cool up there. And we all just looked at each other and we're like, Portland. Like, fucking A. Let's fucking go to Portland. And we cheered glasses. We were drinking Newcastle. We cheered glasses, Portland, and then we fucking like full born, like focused on getting to Portland. And 2 months later, I had booked us a tour. I started booking a tour for us. 2 months later, we had a tour for 6 weeks. And at the end of the tour, we came in our van to Portland. And then we didn't know anybody. Right? We didn't know anybody. We didn't know what we were going to do. When we got here, we called everyone we knew, and then we found that the bass player knew, his sister knew a girl who lived in Portland, and we got her number, and she let us crash in her spare room for like a couple days. And that's how we got rooted here. She had this huge chow that hated me. And that was in 1999. That was like February of 99. Okay? I remember it was right in the beginning of February, because what happened was we went on tour for all of January, and so it was like a 5-week tour. Then the first week of February, we came to Portland. We got here. Then for like a week, we tried to find like a place to live, and we couldn't. And then the drummer quit, and he moved back to Georgia. And so then I was like, fuck it. I had a girlfriend in LA, so I'm like, I'm going back to LA. So I went back to LA. Right? I just went back to LA and was going to just leave and not stay in Portland. And then like 3 days later, the bass player called me and he said, I got a job and I found a fucking house. Like, you can't stay in the house, but I already talked to them. You can park the van out in front of it, and you can shower in the house. And that was over on 41st and like Division, right? And so then I was like, I broke up with my girlfriend for a second time, and I fucking came back. And that was it. And then I've been here since. And then that bass player, he left like 3 years later. He moved back to Georgia, and then he died of a heart attack like shortly after that. So he's actually dead, that bass player who got the job in the house, right? Dude. Yeah, so that's how I started. I started by living in my van out in front of Jason's house, right? And taking a shower there. But Jason died at 35, dude. Yeah, he died young. He died like, I don't know, 4 years later. Isn't that crazy? Dude, let's go. Groove Dragon. All right. Dude, that's a fucking good place, dude. $9.63 a month. Oh, shit. Yeah. No, yeah, he died young. He did. I mean, he had a lot of drug issues. But yeah, so that's how I got to Portland. Like, it was just random. You know what I mean? It was just fucking random, boss. Kind of how I roll, boss. All right. Where's the van? Well, so the van died. Okay, like probably a year after I got here, a year and a half after I got here. No, it's about a year. About a year after I got here, I got a construction job briefly after I had been bartending for a while. And then I got a construction job, and then the van died on the freeway. And then I went to a Ford dealership, and I bought a Ford truck. Okay, I bought a Ford truck. And fucking, it was a white GMC, like a big white van, but the engine blew on the fucking freeway. And so I went to a Ford dealership, and I traded in the van and bought a Ford truck with the help of like my construction foreman. Right? Yeah, it's pretty wild. So the van died. The van ended up getting traded to a Ford dealership down in fucking Oregon City or wherever. Dude, it was a good van though. Got me here. It was fun. Dude, it's brutal though. All right, you ready for some politics? Dude, story time is over. Now it's time to do a little politicking, shall we? Dude, we have some crazy shit to look at today, boss. We do. All right, let's get a dance party goal going. Yeah, no, we're going to talk about, oh yeah, Jake, you're thinking of the minivan, right? You're thinking of the minivan. That came a little bit later, right? The minivan was great though. Dude, I had the minivan up until 2020, boss. I had that minivan. I bought it in 2004 and I had it until 2020, 16 years. I drove all over the country in that minivan. And then ultimately what happened was when I was doing this FaZe Clan thing down in San Francisco, I drove down to San Francisco with it and it died on the way back. And then I ended up selling it to like a disabled veteran guy who was driving it back to Michigan. Okay. And then I bought my sports car. Dude, I did love that thing, man. I loved that van, dude. I mean, dude, I put 70,000 miles on that thing the first year from touring. It was amazing. Dude, it was so good. Dude, no, it was a Ford Freestar is what it was. But then I sold it to a veteran for like dirt cheap with a brand new engine too. I had just put a new engine in it. And yeah, I put 70,000 miles from touring on the first year. When I finally sold it, it had 250,000 miles on it. I drove it to the moon, boss. I drove it to the fucking moon. Isn't that crazy? From touring, 250,000 miles. And then I had just put a new engine in it, right? And it had some other issue, right? But then I got it fixed and sold it like with, sold it with a brand new engine to this veteran guy who was going back to Michigan, right? Crazy. Dude, yeah, it's good. To the moon, boss, right? A lot. I liked touring. Dude, you wish I would come back to gaming? Yeah, I'm sorry, boss. I mean, when I get to a 500 viewer average, which will probably be in the next couple of months or whatever, I'm going to fucking play like, I'm going to game like once a week or once every 2 weeks on the Acting Like Tommy channel, but I just don't really miss gaming, boss. I know it sounds crazy, but I never really spent a lot of time playing video games. I did hang out at Satyricon. Yeah, I used to play there a lot. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, so politics. We got to cover. Here's what we're covering tonight, guys. Okay, one thing we're going to cover is we are going to look at the Mellon Epstein fucking U.S. military thing. Okay, that we're definitely looking at. Another thing we want to look at is this, this dude I stumbled upon, right? I stumbled upon this dude on Twitter who is like a red pill guy who's like had the FBI telling him to delete his footage from the Charlie Kirk thing, which seems to run some of the shit he's saying seems to like coincide with some of the shit that Candace is saying. Okay. And no, it's not Elon, it's Mellon. It's one of the Mellon kids that donated that money. So we're going to look at that guy. Okay. Then the other thing I want to look at is we got to look at what's going on in New York City. Holy shit, dude. Okay. They had that oligarchy, Mamdani, AOC, and Bernie filled that stadium. They had that big thing. But dude, 30 billionaires, okay? 29 billionaires have put together $22 million to try desperately to defeat Zoran Mamdani. Dude, how fucked up is that, guys? That 29 people. New York City has 18 million people, guys. Okay? 18 million people. And 29 motherfuckers are trying to pool in $22 million, almost $1 million each, to beat Zoran Mamdani. Like, how gross is that? The minute a candidate comes around and says, hey, man, I want to make this city better for like the non-rich, the wealthy come out and try to fucking destroy everything. Like, dude, billionaires should not exist. I agree. Dude, we should tax them into oblivion, right? I'm serious. It's fucking disgusting, bro. It is disgusting. And Bill Ackman is at the center of it. I've kind of been harassing him on Twitter a little, right? In not in a really bad way. But dude, I've been fucking giving Bill Ackman a lot of shit because, dude, he is such a fucking degenerate. You know what I'm saying? Such a degenerate, Dude, yeah, it's crazy. There was Zoran's speech great? I bet it was, dude. Find me a link to the speech. We should watch some of that. So we're going to look at that. Now, guys, I want to see the MTG shit. Can somebody find me the MTG clip where she's like going off on Trump, right? I think she's going off on the Epstein files or something, or there's some MTG shit that I have missed that I want to revisit where she was like taking MAGA or Trump or the Republicans to task. And any ones you find, okay? Any ones you find of MTG that are recent where she's talking about shit. I've seen people freaking out about her, about how she, part of the sort of MAGA Civil War theme. I want to look at that as well. All right. Dude, we can watch the Zoran speech as long as it's not long, okay? You know what I mean? And I know he probably only spoke for like 20 minutes. But dude, AOC is great, dude. And dude, and I hate to say it though, Gavin Newsom's been doing a really good job too. Okay? Dude, Gavin Newsom has been doing a really good job, boss. He really has. Okay? I've been on a fucking topsy-turvy journey with that man, right? Because I know he's moderating some of his positions in order to try and win a presidential race. And like, I know that a lot of people are like, a lot of the leftists get real mad at him for moderating his positions while running for president. But we forget, though, that Barack Obama moderated his positions, okay? You know what I'm saying? Barack Obama did. Like, when he ran for president, guys, he stayed away from the gay marriage thing. He did not support gay marriage when he ran for president. He avoided that topic. He, totally, went to the center and didn't make a big deal about that. And then the minute he got in there, he started the fight for it. But he said what he needed to say to fucking secure the dub, right? And you know what I mean? And yeah, dude, I absolutely, we'll see. We don't even know who the primary candidates are going to be. So we'll have to see who's there. But I tell you that, if any Democrat that wins is going to be better, okay, right? Every Democrat that wins is going to be better than fucking any one of them, right? Whether it's Newsom or anyone, dude. It could be even somebody that I fucking don't like Josh Shapiro, okay? I don't like Josh Shapiro. He's too nice. He's too corny. He's too middle of the road, whatever, milquetoast. But even if Josh Shapiro won the fucking primary, he would be better than any fucking MAGA. You know what I'm saying? He would, right? You know what I mean? Absolutely, right? But I in particular, here's what I like, okay? What I like is this. Well, Jeffries fucking endorsed Zoran Mamdani, okay? It was a late endorsement, but he did it. He endorsed it. But here, let me just tell you, though, I feel like I want to tell you how I think everybody is meeting the moment, okay? I think obviously Zoran is meeting the moment because he is not rattled. He's not letting anybody shake him. He's continuing to speak openly and focused about what's important. And he's not backing down from who he is at all. And he's inspiring the young people. And he's going to win in New York City. I love that. Kathy Hochul, okay? Kathy Hochul was one of the early ones to recognize that Zoran and her can make a team of fucking over Trump from New York. They can be a united squad. So Hochul has risen to the moment she was the first one, right, of the fucking, establishment people to grab Mamdani and partner up with him and be we're in it. Right? I'm in it. I'm backing him. I'm behind him. And he was with her, right? Instead of them being adversarial, they're going to fight for the sake of kicking the shit out of MAGA. I like that shit. Okay? So that's big, right? Then I feel like AOC, okay, has been fucking touring the country. She's been very vocal, right? She's constantly telegraphing out to the Hispanic community about what to do about ICE, and she's not back down with Tom Homan. You know what I'm saying? She made Tom Homan look like a fucking shithead, bro. You know what I mean? She did. She made Tom Homan look like a fucking dink, and absolutely powerful, right? JB Pritzker has been punking Donald Trump at every turn and providing crucial, calm, measured, takedowns of Trump's behavior and providing a lot of belittling energy of I'm not going to let you push me around, okay? Which has been really essential to have somebody like that fucking, that is not going to be frightened by Trump's threats his constant threats, like even down to him saying like, you know, you guys are welcome to tour the Chicago, but you're not taking anyone with you. The way he protected the Texas Democrats, you know what I mean? That was very big. And I feel like Gavin Newsom has really risen to the occasion by being the troll and by reducing the power of Trump's fucking, you know, like Trump's tirades and shit, and making it so they are constantly on the defensive, and so they are constantly reminding everyone how like we tend to think that Trump is so far ahead of everybody a lot because the media likes to portray him like he's some genius planner, but you just realize he's a fucking moron that is flailing and reacting to everything once Gavin shows up and starts just noodling him, right? And so I've really appreciated that too. I feel like that's like those people have all really risen. And then there have been smaller guys like Tallarico and Greg Kasar that have been real, like, you know, fucking, you know, like kicking in there. And even people like Thomas Massey, okay, who's, you know, he's not a Democrat, but he's been a voice of sanity from the right wing, at least willing to take on Donald Trump and not be like, I just like the people that are not like bending over for him. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that. You know, dude, dude. Yeah. Massey, Rand Paul's a little less fucking, you know, I find Rand Paul to be a little less like credible. Okay. You know, a little less credible than Thomas Massey, right? Rand Paul, he's a little shadier, dude. I think. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people have met the moment, you know? But dude, we should look at a Bannon clip, dude. Can I just show you? Like, check this out, okay? Because the thing about Bannon is Bannon's full of shit, okay? He is. Dude, I think now they're going to try shit. Don't get me wrong, okay? Don't get me wrong. Bannon is absolutely, they're going to try shit. But I saw a clip today where I just realized this guy is full of schmidt, bro. And it was this one, dude. Let me show you. Can I just show you the dude, this is Jesus. This one, you ready? All right, watch this. Watch this clip, okay? Watch this. This is wild here.
You use the word war a lot. If you really think there is a risk of civil war and the situation is as bad as you are saying, don't you have a responsibility as someone who sees this and who's a student of history and has seen what has happened in history to calm things down?
Not to calm things down at all, to warn people. Do you think if we calm things down, they're going to stop? What planet are you living on? This is my problem with this whole concept of liberal debate. We're in a revolutionary time, both technologically, geopolitically, right? Financially. We must go to the ramparts. Because if you're just passive and docile and just flick the channel and watch the National Football League and go to Taylor Swift concerts, it's over. This is the fourth turning. The strength of the populist nationalist MAGA movement in this country is we're anti-fragile. We're resilient. You can give us your best shot. You can put us in prison. You can take our credit cards away. You can debank us. You can deplatform us. You can have all the tech stuff that happened. We can't be beaten if we don't quit. And if that takes hot rhetoric, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because
yeah, but the reality is, though, is most of the MAGA movement are slovenly, like pork rinds eaters that are watching The Voice, right? And screaming into the void about a rainbow fucking crosswalk. You know what I'm saying? Like the reality.
Because we're now getting into the middle of this fight, and we're never gonna kowtow to these people. We're never gonna get on our knees to these people. We're never gonna apologize. We're never gonna say we're sorry. All we care about is victory begets victory begets victory, and we know that we're ascendant and they're in decline. We, as a populist nationalist movement, as a MAGA movement, We need to do like the redistricting fights. We need to get, this is why I was down in Texas. We need to get the House in a situation that is permanently defendable by the MAGA movement. Right?
Now, watch this. This is the point I want to make to you, okay? Because watch how full of shit he is. Because right here, he just said he believes in redistricting to basically gerrymander the House so MAGA always wins it. Okay, right? That's what he just said. The House is always defendable by the MAGA movement. But now watch, guys. Watch what he says here, okay? Because in a minute, he's going to say, well, this is going to force the Democrats to, like, play ball so they can win the House back, is what he says. Watch him.
Right? So it's a blocking mechanism. And take that, like I said, you move a maximalist strategy with a sense of urgency, and you seize the institutions. And that's what we're doing right
Steve,
now.
I don't see how that is a recipe for diffusing this crisis. I think that what happens is when people feel shut out of power and interest groups cannot get representation and cannot get an input into the way that policy is made, that's precisely when you end up with civil war.
I disagree. I think you'll see, no, because I think the mechanism will be that people in the Democratic Party will adjust and change, say, hey, we actually have to start winning elections, and we have to have a message that can resonate with many Americans, that we can start getting back control of the House of Representatives, we can take the Senate, and most importantly, we can take the presidency.
But again, how are they ever going to change to some message that wins the House back if they have already seized the institution of the House and made it so MAGA always wins it? You see what I'm saying? Like he's just talking out his ass, right? You see that there. He's like responding to them. No. Like he's thought out, but the whole time, this guy is literally just talking out his ass, okay? He is like, he has a spotlight on him where he gets to go and be the star and talk the whole Bannon philosophy and all this shit, but he is literally just talking out his fucking ass, boss. Dude, Sean Ritz, let's go. Dude, he has no fucking clue what he's talking about. Oh, dude, I forgot to do the dance goal, guys. My bad. Let me set the dance goal. We'll go 45 minutes for a dance party. I was going to do that, and then I got sidetracked. There it is. There it is. There it is. But, dude, yeah, he is talking out his ass.
I think you will see I think that you'll force the Civil War to be inside of those guys, and they'll say, these radicals are saying violence, and we have to seize the institutions, seize them, and then purge them. We seize the institution, purge them, and that's why you've got guys, it's not the Doge crap. This is serious people like Russ Vought and others that have spent years thinking this whole plan through. We must strike, and we must strike now.
Dude, yeah, seize the institutions, right? Dude, he is a clown, bro. You know what I'm saying? He is a fucking clown, boss. Right? Dude, I mean, I like, though, that he's sort of telegraphing shit. You know, I do. I do like it. Dude, Willem, let's go. Dude, Chris Paul, let's go. Dude, I like that he's telegraphing this shit. You know what I mean? But what's funny about it, though, is how when you listen to him, you notice how it's all personal for him, right? When he's sitting there saying, you know, you put us in prison, you debank us, you ban us from social media. But like none of that's happening to the MAGA people, right? The MAGA shitters out in middle America, none of them are getting debanked, or they might get banned from social media when they say rotten shit, but none of them were getting debanked or fucking being put in jail. Like only the criminals were getting debanked and being put in jail. Only the money launderers and the con men were having that shit happen to them. But the whole thing is how personal it is. Like all of this shit that Bannon is talking about is the same as Trump. Like Trump is on a personal retribution. Okay? He is on a personal retribution. But so Edmundo, What he means by seizing is making it so they can't lose it anymore, right? That's what they mean by seizing the institutions. For Bannon and Russ Vought and these, dude, thank you, Portland. For Bannon and Russ Vought and these, like, you know, evangelical clowns, they don't want to just win an election and control the House. They want to set up the House so they always win. So the Republicans always control it. They set up the Senate so the Republicans always control it. And then, right, that's what they're after. They're after the rigged game, okay? Like they did in Wisconsin, where Wisconsin's 52% blue in statewide votes, but the state legislature and the state Senate were supermajority 2/3 red, okay? They seized the state legislature, so the governor of Wisconsin had no real power for like a decade, right? Because they seized the fucking state legislatures. You know what I mean? No notice of my show? Dude, yeah, I don't worry about that, boss. I don't know if your noties are not working. Maybe turn them off, turn them back on. But yeah, I don't think I'm being throttled. And if I am, I don't worry about that shit. Right? Dude, yeah, I know. I will say this though. I feel like noties are just never quite work right. I don't know why, but you know, I've had noties on, like, it seems to me that Discord, Twitch, and YouTube noties don't ever work right. Right? The only ones that work right for me are Twitter ones. Dude, Patrick, you're the best part of every late night Let's Dance. Let's go, baby. But yeah, I mean, it happens on Twitch all the time, dude. It's just a weird fucking thing, dude. I don't know what it is. But yeah, Bannon is a fucking clown, bro. But anyway, though, we do have to pay attention to this, okay? Because look at what else is going on, all right? Is this, hold on, it's this. I replied to it here. Or I posted it. This. Look at this. Okay? Right? Here. I'm going to save this image as okay? Now, let me show you this image because I think this is important, guys. All right? This was from 𝗙PAC this year, okay? Their little conservative fucking jerk-it festival, okay? But look at what 𝗙PAC has, all right? It's called the Third Term Project. You see that? You see that? Dude, and this was February 2025, ironically at the Gaylord Hotel in Maryland, right? It's called the Third Term Project, guys, okay? And it says, this press conference will explore the case for reconsidering presidential term limits. Dude, Sean, just finished your last live, spoke about Owens getting, and I wanted to say that would be stupid of them because she said, yeah, dropped all the tea to like 10 people. Oh, let's go. Yeah, dude, maybe she's immune, boss. But like, dude, it feels like she's risky, dude, right? That she's giving her information. But yeah, this was in February. This was a month after the term. Dude, Blossom, let's go. Thank you. But look at this shit, okay? So look what they're saying. It's a press conference to explore the case for reconsidering term limits, arguing that extended leadership can be crucial during times of national crisis and economic development, drawing on historical examples of FDR and international cases such as Orban in Hungary. No thanks, fuckheads. The discussion will highlight how sustained leadership fosters policy continuity, national stability, and long-term progress, right? And then it says they will discuss Andy Ogle's new bill, which proposes a constitutional amendment allowing for a president to serve up to 3 terms, provided they did not serve 2 consecutive terms prior to running for a 3rd. But dude, look at this shit. Dude, they're like just specifically trying to make this a Trump thing, but there's not going to be a constitutional amendment. But there's, they want to talk about more time to complete Trump's agenda. They want to, stability, all right, extended leadership and preparing future leaders, right? Dude, what a bunch of fucking clowns. But yeah, that was being passed around at CPAC today, okay? So they are, right? They are actively trying to do this shit, guys. This is not a joke. This is not a dress rehearsal, okay? They're totally trying to do this. But here's the thing. You ready? So before we move on, I want to go out on the record and I want to say a couple of things. Like, one, I know they want to do it. Okay, 1. 2, I know they're going to try in some cockamamie sort of way to do it. But 3, I also know that they're not going to get away with it. And if Trump were to try and get a 3rd term, it would more than likely lead to a pine box. Okay? It would lead to this, guys. All right? This is what awaits a fucking Trump 3rd term, dude, right there. All right? If Trump decides to run for a 3rd term, this is how it's going to end up. That I shit you not. Okay? He can try. Go ahead and bring it. Say what you want. You know what I'm saying? He can fucking try. You don't trust SCOTUS? It doesn't matter. SCOTUS doesn't have any fucking standing with that. Right? SCOTUS will be the same way. If they try to get involved in this shit, they will get one right on the chops too, boss. You know what I mean? Like, dude, SCOTUS can be disbanded. You know what I mean? They're not the end all be all. They have no enforcement power. Don't forget that. Right? SCOTUS, they have no enforcement arm, guys. They are a judicial branch and they can make statements and they can make declarations, but they have no way in the government to enforce anything they say. And so if they start becoming unconstitutional, we don't have to obey their shit. They can't make us. You know what I mean? They can't make us do anything. They're literally just a judicial, right? If they start breaking the Constitution, nobody has to obey them, right? You know what I'm saying? They don't. I mean, it could get wacky when people aren't sure who do we obey or who do we not. But I mean, it's real simple, guys. If Bannon is right, and if him and Trump and Vought and Stephen Miller decide to attempt some sort of like, 3rd term coup, it signals to the world that it's time to put them down. You know what I'm saying? That we have to put the movement down, like for good, you know? And what's more is if his ICE people are the only fighters he has, dude, they're not going very far, dude. Those guys, they can barely grab migrants. They're being fought off by citizens with no weapons. Can you imagine what would happen to ICE, to the Gestapo ICE, if the citizens had weaponry? And like, dude, right? I mean, I'm watching people with no weapons chase these guys out of town, bro. Oh, shit. Dude, let's go. Oh, fuck, bro. Dude, I say bring it on. Right? I'm gonna play my favorite fucking clip for you guys. Where is it? You ready? I have a clip. It's this one. Let me find it. Dude, I love this clip. You ready? Right here. This is MAGA training for the Civil War, guys. Dude, let's go, baby. Oh, there it is. Dude, that's MAGA training hard under Pete Hegseth, getting ready for the Civil War, guys. Yes. Dude, not worried. All right, let me just say, not fucking worried, boss. People laughed at Hitler in the brown shirts. No, Hitler was much more savage, boss. And the other thing, Radstar, you got to remember, again, Germany was like, 30 million people. Okay, it was 1/10 of the size, and it had very limited borders. It did not have 50 individual states with 50 individual military forces, with 50 individual governments. Okay, Germany was very different. They had one leader, one central infrastructure, and nobody to fight it. Okay, right? That was the danger in Germany. Now, I'm not going to minimize Trump, but he can't do what they did in Germany because there are 340 million people and a huge landmass with 50 individual governments and 50 individual National Guards and 50 individual Coast Guards, right? And, well, thousands of police forces. You know what I'm saying? I guess there's not 50 Coast Guards because not everybody's on the ground, but on the water. But you know what I'm saying? It's like that doesn't mean we should diminish threats, right? But you can't really do on the same scale, like the shit that Hitler did that gave him complete control of Germany. Like you would have to do that like 27 times and get away with it all 27, right? Like if he took over one state the way Hitler took over Germany, like if he arrested J.B. Pritzker and blew up the governor's mansion in Illinois, there would be a world fucking war right there, and he's not going to get away with doing that 27 times, So I don't really worry about that. What I kind of worry about, guys, is I worry more about that not happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like an armed confrontation would end this shit. And again, I'm not calling for an armed confrontation because I don't want any violence, of course. But if they were to try an armed takeover, I feel like it would end them all way quicker. What I worry about is more that institutional takeover where people give up and they give up hope and they stop fighting and they just accept fucking, fascism and stop speaking up and stop fighting back. And all the companies bend over and all the governors bend over, right? That's what I worry about more than some type of military takeover. I worry about us getting depressed and stopping the fight back and just accepting some biblical fascism. Because the worry, guys, the worry that I see, and let me just tell you, as somebody I feel like I've been around the block, I've watched a lot of politics happen here in America. The worry that I see is less about like Trump administration and like authoritarian government. I worry more about the Christian shit, okay? About like every kid growing up being forced to recite the Bible. And kids growing up being forced into conversion camps and shit, conversion therapy, right? And PragerU becoming the educational standard of all of our grade schools, to where kids are raised to like pledge allegiance to the flag and the MAGA movement. And then like everybody, like that super crazy, like Jesus freaky Christian Taliban shit. That's kind of what scares me more, is like non-Christians being put in alligator Alcatraz and stuff. Definitely don't want a theocracy. But yeah, that's my fear, is the theocracy, dude. The right? It is, cause they're really hard, like they're really gunning for this, guys. And you see shit like this, dude. Look at this shit. Look at this image, boss. Okay? Look at this. Look at this shit. This is like 19-year-old white people in Arkansas, thousands of them, just on a football field, like hailing to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know why this bothers me, guys? You know why this bothers me? Because if these guys get angry enough and lonely enough and incelled enough, and they're programmed that Jesus, they're warriors for Jesus, and then their megachurch pastor like tells them to go fucking start like, you know, citizens arresting all the gay people or taking all the women and putting them in camps, these fucking guys would do it, man. You know what I mean? That's what I worry about. I worry about these guys being trained to be an army to attack us because they're doing God's work, man. You know, that to me is kind of frightening, bro. You know, cause you know what I mean? And I mean, well, so one star, if they want one, we're going to have to kick the shit out of them, right? You know what I mean? If they want one, like if the right wing really wants a war and they want to provoke a war, then we have to just like kick the shit out of them. But I will say this. I will say that like the people running the military, the people running the Trump administration, they can barely like have air traffic controllers not crash planes. Like, you know what I mean? Like Pete Hegseth, I think if there was a war, Pete Hegseth and anybody under his command would be the losing side. Okay? All of the smart, brilliant, war like knowing generals in the American army would not be fighting for Pete Hegseth. Okay? You know what I'm saying? They would be like, fuck this, right? If there was really a civil war, I think most of the talented military would be on our side. Okay? They're just fucking, they're LARPers, dude. They are all LARPers, you know? You know what I mean? Yeah, dude, they are LARPers. Dude, Pete Hegseth is a fucking Fox newscaster, bro. That guy ain't leading shit, dude. Dude, he'd be at the bar drawing on cocktail napkins. All right, here's what we're gonna do, dude. Dude, you know? They're so dumb, bro. They are like they're losing all of the talent by the day, boss. You know? But anyway, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Okay? Dude, let's hope it doesn't come to that. But you know what I mean? But this is crazy, dude. This shit is wild, boss. All right, you ready? All right, what are we doing first, dude? Are we going to talk? Let's talk about that melon guy. All right, let me talk about the melon. Let's get the melon guy first, dude. So, yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, and I know it's scary because all the dismantling that Trump's doing and all the stress that we're experiencing. But one thing I try to stay focused on, guys, is the fact that like the US is still the center of the global economy, right? Like, for example, if Russia's at war with Ukraine, it affects the global economy, but the rest of the global economy can survive and be okay. Okay? if the U.S. gets in a war with somebody, the U.S. the global economy will still survive because the U.S. will have to engage with the rest of the world in order to support that war. But if the U.S. were fighting the U.S., if there was an actual civil war where we were, instead of being the centerpiece of the global economy, we had both sides fighting to consume all the resources to try and win, I think that would be so disruptive to the global economy that the whole world would somehow have to step in there, right? I don't think that could occur now without it causing catastrophic shockwaves for everybody else on the planet. So I think it would be something where sides would be chosen real fast and it would be a real swift fucking thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, half the military would resign immediately. Certainly Europe and Canada and South America, everybody but maybe Russia, which is decimated. Okay, Russia ain't doing shit, right? Russia is fucking decimated. So the only wild cards would be, the Middle East, right? And China, okay? But I don't think China would fucking... after everything they've been through with Trump, I think if China had a chance to let the Trump admin get its ass kicked, China would be like, yeah, go ahead. We don't see anything, right? Dude, you know what I mean? So much of the world hates Trump. What would he have? He'd have Argentina, who are piss poor. He'd have El Salvador, which is 50 people, bro. And he'd have Russia, that is just a gaping wound, right? And even though there's Saudi Arabia and Qatar and some of those Middle East countries, I don't think they'd want to get involved, actually. I think they would be more concerned with how do we protect our interests. They don't, when I look at MBS and Saudi Arabia, none of them have any scruples, right? You know what I mean? Saudi Arabia is on whatever side pads their pocketbook or gives them, right? I don't think they'd show allegiance to where they're going to send troops over here to fight for somebody, You know what I mean? There's no way. I mean, that's kind of the good things, right? That's the good things about Donald Trump being the way he is he almost uniformly always creates a situation where he's the loser because he never has any allies, guys, except a bunch of really untalented people who will tell him how great he is. Those are the only allies that Trump has ever had, okay? Nobody's ever on his side except really untalented, either people with money that are using him as a vehicle to generate money, or they are really untalented people who kiss his ass, right? Let's go. Dude, yeah, and I've seen a lot of guys like that. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of guys like that. I used to see them in the workplace, right? And maybe you saw this too, but there'd always be some guy in the workplace who's a hustler and he's trying to get promoted and shit. And so what he does is he goes out and he uses everybody he can to get the promotion or go up the ladder. But in the meantime, he makes everybody so mad that eventually when it catches up to him, nobody's on his side and everybody just sort of looks the other way while he gets decimated. Right? And that's literally Donald Trump, dude. And I mean, these guys, they get power and they get, the prestige, and then they just fucking blow it up, dude, because they can't make any allies ever. And eventually their strong arming and their manipulation doesn't work. It never works forever. It's not sustainable, right? I mean, you see them, even with them having all houses of government, they still can't get any of their shit done, right? Because it's just not sustainable, right? All right. So let me find this shit. All right. We're going in, guys. We got to get to some politics. I'm rambling. All right, here we go. So there's a thing from Midas Touch here. We're going to look at this. All right. I don't know who this woman is, right? But okay.
Suit against B. Hey, everybody.
All right. So this is, I guess, Allison Gill. Okay. And so I don't know who Allison Gill is, but so what we're talking about is we're talking about that military payment, guys. Okay. And it's about this. Okay. It's the $130 million to the military payment. Okay. So, right. It's Tim Mellon. Okay. Now, so this is what's interesting. Okay. Is we have the guy who paid it is Timothy Mellon. Okay. Here he is. All right. Timothy Mellon is the donor who paid this fucking, right? He's the donor. There he is, who gave $130 million to pay the troops. Okay. Now, here's what's crazy about this, guys. Okay. The first thing about this is obviously I thought it was Elon. I did. I thought it was Elon because SpaceX sold like 133 million in Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden this came up. Now, there's big problems with this because for one, 130 million is nothing in the military budget. Okay. 130 million is like a tiny payment. It's a small percentage. It's not really like a long-term fix at all. But number two, though, is why during a government shutdown is a private citizen stepping in to help one side of the government shutdown. Now, I hate to say this, guys, but this is a very this is socialism that's going on here, right? This is like a very socialist or Russian communist type of situation where you now have a private sector oligarch that is getting involved in government in order to help one part of the government be victorious over the other. Let's go. Snow puppies from Sam. Let's go. Right? This is fucked up. Now, the irony, of course, is that these LARPing fucking MAGA shitheads are constantly crowing about, socialism, communism, fascism, Marxism. But then they're literally behaving that way. Trump is taking 10% of Intel. He wants to take 10% of fucking U.S. Steel. Now they're having some fucking, some rich prick, fund the military. But where it gets weird is the ties to Epstein. Okay, that's where it gets weird because here's the guy, Tim Mellon. Okay, he's given $130 million to pay the troops. Okay, now if we look at Tim Mellon, okay, you ready for this? Let's look at Tim Mellon. Okay, now let's look at who Tim Mellon's dad is. You see Tim Mellon's dad right here, guys, where it says Paul Mellon. Okay, this American businessman who died in 1999, right? Right? He's was one of the wealthiest Americans ever when he died. Okay, the Mellon Bank, right? And there's fucking, right, Carnegie Mellon. They're a long line of Mellon family Ivy League motherfuckers, bro. The long family line of money. But you see that? Paul Mellon, okay? Right? That's his dad. So Paul's son has come up with 130 million, but look at this, guys. Look at this. You ready? Hold on. This is crazy. Now, let's look at the old Epstein flight log, shall we? This is our little Epstein flight log, which I believe is part of the dump that came out from the Epstein, his estate with the birthday book. Well, look at what we got on here, dude. Oh, shit, bro. Dude, Crone, 130 million will only cover 1/6 of the first month paychecks for the military. Exactly, boss. You see a name there that you recognize, guys? Oh, look at that. Fucking Jeffrey Epstein, Paul Mellon, 2 females. Well, looky there. Jeffrey Epstein, Paul Mellon, 2 females. Oh, well, looky there. Little J.E., a little Paul Mellon, and a couple of unidentified females on the fucking Lolita Express. Huh. Isn't that weird? Right? Unidentified females. No names. Yeah, I wonder how old they were, right? Well, isn't it weird that Paul Mellon's son is now like stepping in to give Trump 130 million to whatever? But see, that's the thing. Is this 130 million even about the troops, or is this 130 million like guaranteeing that Paul Mellon's name stay in the ether, right? Miriam, let's go. Appreciate you. All right, let's check. It looks like we need 7 more, guys. 11 minutes, 7 more. So I'm going to be a carnival barker here for a minute while we secure the dance party. But dude, isn't that crazy? Because again, guys, we have been talking about this a lot. I think a huge part of the Epstein thing goes beyond Trump's individual involvement. Okay? Is Trump in there? Is there some involvement with him and Melania? Sure there is. Right? There's involvement with people, Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk. There's involvement. But what I think, guys, is I think that there's their donors, yes. The people above Trump, the people that fund the Heritage Foundation, the Manhattan Institute, that fund all of the right-wing shit, these super PACs, the guys that have, the Cook brothers, for God's sake, and all that kind of money, all of those motherfuckers are in those files, okay? All of those people are fucking in those files. So it is like protecting a network of the wealthiest, most powerful people on the planet internationally, okay? That are in there, okay? That are in there that, and again, what Bingewood said too, I'm sure some of this, guys, is not even just the sex, okay? Some of it is the young girls and the sex, but some of it is what was Epstein good at? Dude, he was a tax dodger. He was a guy who came up with pyramid schemes and shell company schemes and ways for the wealthiest people out there to avoid paying taxes. So who knows what kind of financial improprieties and like financial connections among people that are doing dirty business. Like there could be so much in there that is like beyond just the child essay and shit, which, you know what I mean? I mean, it's one of those things where we could come to find out that a large part of the American financially aristocratic, like all these family names are just ruined because they're all shady scumbags that were participating in sex crimes and money laundering and deviant connections with foreign governments and playing both sides of conflicts. I mean, it's just gotta be some deep, gnarly shit, okay? Deep, gnarly shit. Political punk is not suicidal. No, I am not suicidal. All right, I am not. You can ask anyone. There will never be an instance of me taking my own life. Okay, I don't go that route. I am manic as all get out, but I don't have crashing depression. It's just not how it works. But all right, guys, we need 5 more, guys. Let's go. 8 minutes, 5 more. We're gonna secure the 5. We're gonna get the dance party, and then we are going to dig in here to Melon, right? Keep fighting the good fight. Left is best. Let's go, Omega. Appreciate you. Thank you. All right, 4 more, baby. Dance party incoming. By the way, we will cover a couple stories and then we will dance. I do like to do the dancing at the end. Keeps it focused on politics, and then we hit the dance party. But if Obama's in the Epstein files, yeah, I mean, so we don't know who's all in there, right? Could be a bunch of people we know, could be people we love and respect. I mean, it's going to be complicated because some people probably had nothing to do with nothing, and some people had everything to do with everything. I think you're not going to know who's who, and some people are going to get tainted, and it's going to fucking unravel. But I say the same thing. Go after them all. Like, I don't care. If Obama's in there and he actually did shit, like, let him fry, dude. Fuck him. Fuck all of them, right? I don't think Obama's in there either. I mean, if Obama had been in there, like, they would have absolutely talked about it. I mean, we know Bill Clinton is in there. We know Bill Gates. We know Elon Musk. We know Ehud Barak. We know, Peter Thiel. Dance, dance, dance. Let's go, Omega. We know that, Paul Mellon, right? Where are you at, Paul Mellon? Oh, there you are. Dude, Redbone, let's go. Like the band, Redbone Sunshine, let's go. Is that what your name is, Redbone Sunshine? Dude, I have some Redbone on my fucking, on my, my Apple Music. Dude. Bannon's in there, for sure. Dude, Giuliani, Dersh, right? They're, I bet some of these other billionaires might be in there too, dude, right? Bone Spurs has said Obama made him up. Even he can't claim Obama implicated himself. Dude, Bone Spurs is an idiot, right? See, I think what it is, guys, is I think it's like the wealthy and elite families. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think. I think some of these family names are going to get, like, brutalized. Like, some of these families have, like, medical schools at Ivy League schools named after them. And when the truth comes out, they're going to lose their whole family legacies. Like, I don't know if you guys realize, but the family legacies, Omega Star, let's go. Happy Halloween to you too. The family legacies are like a big deal to these people, right? They'll do anything to protect that shit. You have no idea. I mean, or maybe you do. You have no idea how vain and fucking like how vain and petty some of these like old money families are. They're so despicable where it's like, oh shit, dude, we made it. All right, let's go. Dude, we hit it. All right, we're in. Now we can just relax and enjoy the show because we got the dance party. We're good to go. But yeah, the family money people, guys, are fucking gross, dude. They are. They are like, it's gross. Yeah, no, Andrew definitely took some hits. What did you do wrong? Your sticker didn't have a countdown number on it. Oh, so what it is, Jen, it finally destroy the oligarchs. Let's go, Sean. So what it is, Jen, is this. Is when there's a dance countdown, it only includes super chats. So stickers come through, but they don't affect the countdown, right? Only super chats affect the countdown. I don't know why they do that, right? Yeah, I don't know why they do that. It's fucking annoying, right? Because stickers are good too, right? And I love stickers with the pairs. The pairs are amazing. But they only super chats count. I can't include stickers into the goal, right? Like if I try to do a goal, right? You try to fucking do one, it doesn't let you include stickers. Yeah, it's super chats only. All right. All right, so let's look at this guy, shall we? Donor gave $130 million to pay troops, is reclusive heir to Mellon fortune. Now, let's see. Did the New York Times mention this? Okay, let's see. Let's put the New York Times under the microscope and see if they talk about Paul Mellon, all right, being here. And it says, Timothy Mellon, reclusive billionaire, major financial backer of Trump, is the anonymous private donor who gave $130 million to the U.S. government. Again, a private citizen giving $130 million to the U.S. government is like illegal, guys. Unconstitutional. It's like Soviet communism type shit. Okay? Trump announced the donation on Thursday, declined to name the person, only calling him a patriot and a friend. But two people who spoke on condition of anonymity because it was private identified him as Mr. Mellon. Okay? Again, Trump declined to identify him. He just said he was a great American citizen and a substantial man. He doesn't want publicity, Trump said. He prefers his name not be mentioned. And then the White House declined to comment. So they are still like remaining tight-lipped about it, right? It remains unclear how far the donation will go towards covering the salaries of more than 1.3 million troops. I mean, think about it, dude. He gave $130 million. There's 1.3 million troops. So what does that mean? Every person in the military just got $10, guys, or $100, right? Right? That's what they got. Everybody in the military just got $100. Great. They broke the law and they shit on the Constitution. So all of the military get $100 each. Congrats. Nice job, MAGA, you fucking dinks. Okay. So $100 per service member. Right? Oh shit. Dude, the 2025 budget was $600 billion for military fucking compensation. All right, here we go. So Mr. Mellon, a wealthy banking heir and railroad magnate, is a longtime Trump backer who gave tens of millions of dollars. Last year, he donated $50 million to get Trump in office. Okay, $50 million, one of the largest single contributions ever disclosed. So this guy already gave $50 million to a super PAC. Dude, what a degenerate. A grandson of former Treasury Secretary Andrew Mellon. Mr. Mellon was not a prominent Republican donor until Trump was elected. See, guys, this is it. This is what I'm talking about. This is the Epstein connection. Right here, guys. Look at that. His daddy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, his daddy, I got to keep this window open. Let me get this set up. Okay? His daddy is on the plane. Okay? Tim Mellon's daddy was on the plane, but until Trump showed up, he never donated to Republicans. He wasn't a big donor. He wasn't a serious Republican guy. He wasn't somebody who funneled money to Republicans. But the minute Donnie Trump gets in office, all of a sudden he's one of Trump's biggest donors. Why? Because he's making sure his daddy and the females his daddy was flying on Lolita Express with Jeffrey Epstein, he's making sure that shit stays quiet. A reminder to Trump of like, you need to keep that shit quiet. Again, guys, it feels like everything in U.S. politics right now from Trump and the gang is 100% only about Epstein. The entire right wing is like Epstein and Russia. That's it. I don't know what the connection is, boss. Okay. And in recent years, he has poured hundreds of millions into supporting Trump and the Republicans. He lives primarily in Wyoming. All right. He's a significant supporter of RFK Jr., who was also on the jet. RFK Jr. also flew on Lolita Express. RFK Jr. also felt up a babysitter. I mean, kept a diary of all his infidelities until his wife killed herself. RFK Jr. is very much in this shady shit. Okay. He donated millions to his presidential campaign. The Pentagon said it accepted the donation under the General Gift Acceptance Authority. Fuck you, Hegseth. Was made on the condition it be used to offset the cost of service members' salaries and benefits. And look at this, though. It says it was a donation. Guys, it's a donation. No payback. So we have the son of a prominent Epstein traveler giving $130 million donation to the guy who is hiding the Epstein files. Huh. That's weird. It's only going to give every service member $100, so it's not really doing anything for the military. So what are they actually even doing with this money, guys? Where is this money going? Right? Is every person getting a $100 check? I don't think they will. Okay, so here the Times wants to hear if you're a federal worker. Okay, it says the donation appears to be a potential violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act, which prohibits federal agencies from spending money in excess of congressional appropriations or from accepting voluntary services. Yeah, you can't just give the government a $130 million bribe, guys. And the government says, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, more, please. Oh, want me to rub your prostate? Okay, so Trump has vowed to pay people even though they don't have any money for it. The president signed an executive order to use unspent R&D funds to cover the salaries. Thousands of federal workers have missed their first paycheck. 670,000 have been furloughed. Okay. And it says here in an autobiography this guy self-published in 2015, Mr. Mellon said he was a former liberal who moved to Wyoming from Connecticut for lower taxes and to be surrounded by fewer people. His book also contains several incendiary passages about race. Dude, you see this, guys? This is a real shocker, isn't it? That Mr. Mellon's book contains several incendiary passages about race. Oh, you don't say, right? He wrote that black people were even more belligerent after social programs were expanded in the 60s and 70s. And that social safety net programs amounted to slavery redux, which is ironic, guys, because you know who's mostly on if you look on welfare, the biggest recipients of welfare are the disabled and poor people with kids, but it's mostly white people, guys. There's only 12% of America is black people, and only a percentage of them are on welfare. Most of welfare are red state MAGA voters, period. That's the biggest snap and fucking, right? Those benefits are white people in red states. Piss poor white people are the biggest recipients of that shit. White rural people, yeah. Or white people that are working at Walmart in, small towns where Walmart's the only fucking employer and they're not making any money. Right? Or they're working part-time in Amazon because Amazon has to pay them $14 an hour, but so it only gives them 20 hours a week because it doesn't want to give them health benefits. I mean, dude, it's fucking crazy. Like how much of the SNAP and welfare shit is just subsidizing corporations that exploit workers and don't pay them enough wages or limit their schedules. If they pay them high wages, they limit their schedules so they don't have to give them health benefits. I mean, the whole thing is a con. Okay, Mr. Mellon wrote another book in the summer of 2024 about his work turning around Pan Am Systems, a collection of companies in rail aviation marketing. The book was put out by Skyhorse Publishing. So look at that. His book was published by the same company that published Melania Trump's fucking memoir. Okay. And Tony Lyons, the president of Skyhorse, co-founded a super PAC that backed RFK. So these guys are all in cahoots. It says in 2020, during a Rare and Beef interview with the New York Times, Mr. Mellon declined to answer questions about his political giving. Right? He says, I'll contribute to him or Biden or whoever I want to. I don't have to say why. But look at that, dude. The New York Times, though, didn't mention this, guys. You see that? The New York Times failed to mention this. Huh. Isn't that weird? Right? I think that's a real fucking problem. Right? That is a real problem, boss. So let's see what we got here. Let's see what fucking Allison Gill is talking about.
Hey, everybody, it's 𝗙𝗚𝗟. You'll notice I'm not in my regular studio. I apologize for that. I'm on vacation. There wasn't going to be an episode of The Breakdown this week because of that vacation, but this news is too important, so I wanted to jump on and tell you about it. The anonymous donor who made the $130 million payment to Donald Trump to give to the military is connected to Jeffrey Epstein. This is The Breakdown. Hey, everybody, welcome to The Breakdown. I'm 𝗙𝗚𝗟. Let me show you how all of this unfolded for me in the last day. By Saturday morning, we all knew, because we'd heard from Trump himself, that some anonymous, wonderful, wealthy benefactor had donated $130 million to help pay the military during the government shutdown. Something, by the way, that Mike Johnson can do and should do, because that's the legal way to pay the troops during a shutdown, is to have it go through Congress because they control the purse strings. But Mike Johnson doesn't want to come back to work right now. So that's interesting.
Yeah, Mike Johnson does not want to swear in 𝗦𝗂𝗽𝗍𝗪, does not want the Epstein list to fucking come out, boss. All right? Dude, was what Richard Mellon was an early supporter of Heritage Foundation? How is Richard connected to these guys? Right? Because we have Paul, and we have fucking Tim's dad, who is he a cousin? Andrew Mellon was, of course, the big guy. Oh, Richard Mellon was Andrew Mellon's fucking brother? Is that what it is? His great-grandfather's brother? Is this who you're talking about? This Richard Mellon? Or his kid, Richard King Mellon? Is it this guy? Right? That's who, or is it Richard P. Mellon? It could be Richard P. Right? I mean, it's one of them, right? There seem to be a lot of Richards. They're fucking the Mellon heads.
Because then he'd have to swear in 𝗦𝗨𝗪𝗏, and they'd have 218 signatures on the discharge petition to release the Epstein files. So my first thought was, maybe this anonymous donor is tied to Epstein somehow, prompting him to help pay the troops so that Mike Johnson didn't have to come back to work and do it the proper way. It seemed plausible that rich men associated with Epstein might do anything to help prevent Mike Johnson from coming back to work. But then I was like, no, surely not. No, that's so transparently stupid, even for this administration.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Seattle Jen said, so why do it? So obvious, don't get it. And guys, I just feel like this is the Streisand effect, right? And this is like one of the things that I feel like gives me hope that we're hitting critical mass to where eventually the dam's going to break and all of this is going to come out, okay? Because these guys are all so wealthy and so powerful and so arrogant that they live in a world where they think they can just get away with everything. So the guy makes an anonymous donor. He doesn't think anyone's going to mention it. It leaks out. Then pretty soon you put two and two together. Now everybody's looking double time. And yes, this is like the problem with these fucking idiots is they just keep Streisand affecting their own shit. And they, right? And then they're like, oh, well, okay, now we'll do this. Because they're all so wealthy, they're used to just get out of jail free cards essentially forever, right? But the Streisand effect is totally at work here. Because now there's going to be even more pressure on Mike Johnson, more pressure for 𝗦𝗨𝗪𝗏. It's going to give more of the election people coming up in November to talk about this. We have elections in 10 days. Everyone's going to be talking about Epstein, right? It's like the whole thing is just going to like build churn. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Build churn.
But never underestimate the idiocy of weak and desperate men. Sure enough, Saturday morning, the New York Times reported that it's Timothy Mellon, heir to the Mellon banking fortune, that had made the $130 million gift to our government. And that's when alarm bells started going off in my head. Why? Because just 11 days ago, an Epstein survivor who's going by Jane Doe to maintain her anonymity filed a lawsuit against Bank of America and the Bank of New York Mellon.
Oh, shit. So that's interesting because I didn't even know about the banking lawsuit. So that's a whole nother angle with the financial aspect.
Alleging they knowingly provided financial services enabling Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking ring. By the way, the Bank of New York is no longer called the Bank of New York Mellon. They got rid of the Mellon
Of course
about a year
they did.
ago.
Of course they did. Now, this is tying into, I'm sure, that shit that Ron Wyden is investigating.
They dropped it from their name in an effort to rebrand. They said they wanted to simplify their image.
Yeah.
Or maybe they want to dissociate with the name Mellon.
Yeah, maybe they want to, they want Paul Mellon and his two females on Lolita Express to never see the light of day, dude. Dude, what a bunch of cunts, bro. These guys, dude. What a bunch of degenerates.
For some reason. Anyway, I digress. I searched the New York Times article for any mention of the suit against Bank of New York Mellon in connection with the Epstein sex trafficking ring. And there's nothing in there about it. Now, Reuters reported on October 15th, a woman who says she was abused by the late financier and sex offender Jeffrey Epstein sued Bank of America and the Bank of New York Mellon on Wednesday, alleging the banks knowingly provided financial services that enabled his sex trafficking operation for years. The lawsuit against BNY said the bank gave a line of credit to MC2, a modeling agency.
Look at this, dude. The bank. So BNY gave a line of credit to MC2, that was the modeling agency. Remember, okay? Trump Models was involved with John Casablancas, Ford Models, right? They were doing all those model recruitments where they were picking out those young girls. Trump was importing Eastern European girls, and they were housing them all in Trump properties, charging them exorbitant rent and taking all their money, just basically looting these young models. And then Epstein decided, hey, man, I want to get into the modeling business, and he used Trump Models as like his framework, and Epstein and Jean-Luc Brunel started MC2. They had an office in Miami, they had an office in New York, they had an office in Paris. Okay, Epstein ended up dead in prison, unaliving. Jean-Luc Brunel got arrested in France. He ended up unaliving himself in prison too, like 2 years after Epstein, coincidentally, right? It seems to be the part of the MC2 family is when you go out, it's in custody. Wow. So that's crazy. So they gave a line of credit to MC2 and were basically funding his modeling trafficking, which was, this was all a front. I mean, sure, there were actual models that did modeling work, but a lot of it was a front to bring women over here and take money from them by charging them rent in the Trump or Epstein-owned properties. And then the other thing they would do is every time they had a special dinner or event, those models were the entertainment. And they had to come and be the entertainment. The whole thing was devious. I mean, we've heard the stories about them having to walk across the tables while these wealthy guys look underneath their skirts and shit. Just really deviant shit was going on.
That the lawsuit said Epstein and French model scout Jean-Luc Brunel used to traffic victims. In total, Bank of New York Mellon processed $378 million in payments to women trafficked by Epstein. Brunel was arrested in December of 2020 and was, found dead in his jail cell in 2022.
Dude, let's go, Omega, let's go. Fuck you, Trumpy! Ah!
That's according to Parisian prosecutors. Now, Representative Jamie Raskin also issued a statement about this lawsuit. Quote, new lawsuits against Bank of America and BNY Mellon allege their systematic failure to report suspicious activity around Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation, causing massive harm to victims. A week before these filings, we demanded this very information. asking why banks for years processed $1.5 billion in Epstein-linked transactions without flagging them and filing reports that are required by law.
See, that's crazy, right? And this is the shit that Ron Wyden's looking into, the 1.5 billion. But the fact that they were not flagging, like they're supposed to flag really big transactions and follow up on it, right? Like if $2.5 million moves through a bank, there's supposed to be a report of that size of a transaction and a paper trail. Like the whole point of this is to prevent the banking system from being like crypto, where money can just be laundered through it. I mean, this is why they want to do this stable coin shit, because they want to be able to launder money, right? Buy a bunch of crypto, turn it into stable coins, and then you have access to, dollar-backed money, right? It's going to be the ultimate money laundering operation, but banks aren't supposed to do that shit.
We stand with survivors in exposing the truth about the enablers and co-conspirators of this decades-long international human trafficking ring.
Dude, so bullshit. Let's see if we go in. Dude, she doesn't even mention the flight logs, does she? I don't think she does, dude.
So it's also interesting.
Dude, Omega! Who knew that Epstein wasn't in this by himself? Oh, that's right. We all did. Omega, let's go! Oh! Oh, yes! Dude, that's huge, Omega. Let's go! We get 2 Elons and a Trumpy. Fuck you, Trumpy!
That Donald Trump
Hold on. She talks a little slow for my taste, and I don't necessarily want to double speed it, but I'm going to look through the transcript real quick, and we're going to see, where are we at? We're at the 4 minutes. We're going to scan this and see if there's anything important to see here, right? Because I feel like I covered a lot of this shit. All right. He doesn't want to be identified. A lot of this is from the New York Times article. All right, she talks about Jack Smith, which is a separate thing. So I think I may have enough here for the video, and we can probably just move on, dude. Does she mention how the Times didn't mention it? Dude, see, this is one of the things, guys, that really fucking bothers me, is just a systematic failure by the mainstream media, right, to fucking hold the Trump circle accountable, bro. It is like a nonstop sane washing, whitewashing, both sidesing. I mean, they did that shit with Hakeem Jeffries, right? They did that shit with Hakeem Jeffries, boss, today, right? Margaret Brennan, who I love, okay? She was like saying, oh, why are you using the term rigged? Aren't you being just like Donald Trump was? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Trump lost an election and spent 5 years saying it was rigged. He's still lying about it. We're watching him rig the goddamn thing. They're doing mid-decade gerrymanders to fucking take extra House seats and remove people from power. What the fuck are you talking about? It's not the same goddamn thing, okay? Trump is like, you know what I'm saying? Like losing an election and then crying about it for 5 years, losing in court and making up shit is bullshit. But saying we have an election coming up and now we're going to change all the maps and totally set this thing up so we can't lose, that's fucking different. Those are not the same, bro. And watching Margaret Brennan try to both sides of that shit, dude, I even fucking tweeted at her. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? All right, so the rest of her thing is she's talking about ICE and Homeland Security. All right, so good. We'll just move on. We'll move on from that, but thank you. So I didn't realize that she's the Mueller she wrote person. You know what I'm saying? Right? I didn't realize that. I do realize it now, right? The Mueller she wrote. I mean, I know her from Twitter or whatever. I didn't know she had a fucking show. I didn't know she was associated with Midas, right? But all right, thank you, Mueller. We appreciate you. Let's go. And bye-bye. Dude, Timothy Mellon, bro. Timothy Mellon, daddy on the jet. All right, you ready? Timothy Mellon, daddy on the jet, hanging with 2 females and Jeffrey Ep, going to the island, doing bad shit. Now you're giving money to Trump to call a hit. Dude, there we go. It's my made-up song, the Timothy Mellon song. Timothy Mellon trying to protecting his pop, hanging at the island, doing naughty drop. Dude, fucking clowns, bro. This shit is such bullshit. Dude, this is such bullshit. Yeah, no, Emily, that fucking sombrero shit was horrible, man. Right? That sombrero shit was fucking bad news, boss. All right, next up. Covered the melon. What do we got? I got to look and see what's on the blotter. I don't even know. Oh, yeah. So, dude, let's look at the fucking Candace Owens shit. Okay? Right? The Candace, I can't let you go. All right, let me pull this up here. Let me find it because I got to go into my bookmarks and let me find the right bookmark. All right, so this guy, okay, is interesting. Now, I don't know what to make of what we're about to watch, guys, okay? I don't know what to make of what we're about to watch here. Again, I don't know how true this is, okay? Because the thing that's hard, okay, when talking about Charlie Kirk, what is hard with this Kirk and this conspiracy thing is the unreliability, okay? That's one of the things that bothers me. Now, hold on, guys. In honor of my son, for the back half of this, we're going with the Jets hat, okay? Because my kid moved to New York City a month ago. He and his girlfriend, their shit's in storage. They're in an Airbnb. They're finding apartments as we speak, finding an apartment. He likes the Jets. He's a Seahawks fan, but he's also trying to have a local team. He likes the Jets. They got a win today in like pretty good fashion. They were down by 17 points or something. They came back 23 points in the fourth quarter to win it. All right. And so I'm going to ride the Jets hat for the remainder of the fucking, right? I'm trying to go no hat a lot, but I'm rocking the Jets hat because it's topical today. But so, all right, guys. So here's what we need to talk about with the guy that I'm about to show you. Okay, so part of the Charlie Kirk thing, right? Charlie Kirk, whatever. It happens. It goes on. There's this huge reaction. TPUSA is, let's get into the middle schools. Erica Kirk, she's weird. Why is she not grieving? Candace Owens is like, Trump did it. And all this shit's going down. There's a MAGA civil war breaking out about Epstein. They are fighting. And this is chaotic. But so Candace is insisting that it was not Tyler Robinson. Candace is insisting that it was an inside job. She is implicating Israel and Donald Trump, okay? And she's being very clear about it. And people are freaking out by this. Now, what's interesting about what I found today was there's a guy who was behind Charlie Kirk, okay? He was behind him, and he has footage on his phone from the whole thing. He was filming Charlie from, if Charlie's here, he was, over there, right? He was, looking at Charlie like this. I have downloaded the footage. I'm not going to play it on stream because of, getting pinged and getting denied. I'm going to break it down and probably do a video off, a YouTube video, not a live stream of that, so you'll be able to look at it. I have that footage, okay, that shows the back of Charlie Kirk, the whole thing, okay? And so what's crazy, though, is this guy we're about to watch, he contacted the FBI to give them that footage, and he's had some really weird interactions with the FBI guys. And now this is complicated, though, because all of this is a grift, okay? It's all a grift, right? I mean, Candace was a friend of Charlie Kirk, and she says she's being genuine, but we know she's grifting. Erica Kirk is grifting. Andrew Colvett, TPUSA, they're doing podcasts with an empty chair. They're grifting. All of the ballistic experts out there that are making video after video after video, they are grifting, okay? You know what I'm saying? They're all grifting too, right? I mean, it's just like, this is a very big topic of interest. But yes, oh no, you're right. Everybody does want to know, okay? Everybody wants to know. And the thing about this is I feel like this is tied to the Epstein files too, because we know that the Epstein files and Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump are connected, okay? We know that there is some connections there. Now, again, guys, I'm not going to go into the ballistics necessarily, okay? I'm not. I think that that's there's just a lot of conspiracy theories to be had. But what I find important about what I'm about to show you is that this guy has footage that is thought-provoking about the situation. Now, I looked at the footage, and I still think when you look at this footage, it shows a bullet coming from the front, without a doubt. Okay, this footage absolutely shows that the bullet did not come from behind Charlie. All right, there's no doubt that it went in from up and kind of with a downward angle, and I think it went in and went like to the back of the neck, okay? You know what I'm saying? And horrific, okay, for all these people to watch. Again, we're not going to watch that footage, okay? This isn't about Charlie getting shot or the horrific political violence or any of that stuff, okay? But what this is about, though, is the fact that there's somebody that has really important footage related to the case, the trying of Tyler Robinson, the trying of Charlie Kirk's killer, or the investigation, and the FBI apparently is like not interested in this. They in fact, wait till you see what they say to this guy. And so that's really complicated, guys, because what it does is it makes everything that Candace Owens is saying feel a little bit more real, okay? That's what it feels like. It feels like every day some other weird shit is coming out that's lending a little bit of credence to her stuff, because she's being pretty, you know, if she's lying after making 20 videos, 50 videos to millions of people, and she's lying and just made all this up, it's going to come out and have ruinous effects on her or show that she's completely fraudulent. And she's not behaving with any sort of like hesitation that you would think she would have if this could be ruinous for her, right? And so that's the thing that I find intriguing about this, okay? And so that is where this guy, I think what we're about to see is really sort of worth paying attention to. All right. So here it is. Okay. Hold on one sec. Right. A true grifter wouldn't take that gamble. Yeah. No, and you're saying she's been this way the entire time? Yeah, but so, I mean, you mean her whole career she's just like barges through? I mean, this seems pretty big. But anyway, so look at this guy. So here's the guy, okay? His name is Ryan Simmons, okay? Now, again, I don't super trust this guy, okay? Because this guy, first off, this Ryan guy is not a leftist, okay? He's not on our side, okay? He's certainly not somebody who, like, I think he's a MAGA person, okay? This Ryan Simmons guy, from what I was able to glean to him, obviously he was there recording and watching Charlie Kirk. He's a MAGA white dude with a crappy fucking mustache, okay? But the thing about him, though, is again, I believe with people like Ryan and people about this, like, let me preface what I'm saying here. I want to be clear. I don't care about if it's a conspiracy or if it was Trump or if it was like, I ultimately, me personally, I am not invested in like the truth, because to me, it doesn't really matter who did that horrific deed. Okay. I don't think it matters to me. I mean, I care about its political implications and what if it were something shady, what it could do to the right wing and the GOP and the MAGA movement. Okay. I care about this because I want the MAGA civil war to inflame and to get crazier. And I want them to fight each other. And I want them to keep engaging in conspiracy theories. And yes, I want them to destroy themselves. But ultimately, whether it was from the front or the back or who did it, I don't really care about any of that. The truth of this doesn't affect me in any way, right? Because I'm not invested in that. But I am invested in undermining the MAGA movement, because this is our shot, okay? This is our shot. You know what I'm saying? This is our shot, guys. This is the Epstein and the Charlie Kirk are the two issues that we can use to put a crowbar in there and just fracture this movement. I mean, they're already fractured to where they used to be above reproach as far as belief, like they were in unison belief, and now they're not. You have like Cat Turd fighting with Laura Loomer, fighting with MTG, fighting with Nancy Mace, fighting with Thomas Massey, fighting with Donald Trump, and 20 different right-wingers are proposing 20 different conspiracy theories, and they're all mad at each other. And yeah, I'm like looking at it and seeing everybody standing around with blowtorches, and I want to just hand out buckets of gasoline and be like, all right, guys, let's have a party, right? Let's have a big MAGA party. Yes, never interfere when your enemies fight. But so watch this guy, okay? It says here, a witness to Charlie Kirk's shooting says Kash Patel's FBI told him to delete his footage, which could conflict with the Bureau's official account. Ryan Simmons says he sent the video to the FBI believing he was helping, but instead he was told to erase it from his phone because it might trigger PTSD. Agents would later call him to confirm if he had deleted it. And now he says he saved and archived the footage on his hard drive. Okay? Isn't that fucking weird, right? All right, let's watch this.
So originally when I sent this video in to the FIB for tips, I thought I was doing a service and, to Charlie and helping out. So it started off where I got in contact, was talking to someone at the local field office there in my local state. And then it jumped up a few levels. Then I was talking to someone on like the national level. That person had called me back and they had said, because this was your friend, I think it's best that you erase the video from your phone because it's just gonna give you PTSD. And then called it another time to ask if I had erased it. That was the first time that I felt like it was even right to post these videos. That was on my other account that was.
See, that's just it. I think this guy definitely likes Charlie Kirk. I think he may have known him in some way. right? Like he talked about his friend. I don't know. We're going to have to investigate what his actual connection is to him.
Gone. And just was removed after 5 years of building it. But so I got a call back and was asked to confirm that it was gone. And again, that's when I started sharing, posting, and saving on many different hard drives in many different places. It's been crazy. It's been rough.
So that's pretty wild, right? Isn't that crazy? You know, that yes, call the FBI, starts with the local field office, then eventually you're talking to someone national. They say, you know what? Oh, you like Charlie Kirk. That's going to give you PTSD. You should probably get rid of it. And then later they're like, ring, ring. Hey, you got rid of that, right? Isn't that wild? Dude, yeah, that shit is fucked up. Okay. And now here's another claim though. Okay. This is crazy. Okay. Because here, are you ready for this? So this is wild because now he one-ups it. Okay. And here he one-ups it to say that after he archived this shit and got it off his phone, shit started disappearing off his phone. Now he's like claiming that through a cloud system or whatever, or that the government is deleting the shit off of his phone without him like participating in that. And isn't that crazy?
Can someone explain to me how you can literally have stuff on your phone, have a couple posts that you post on TikTok, still have 20 other videos that you've luckily saved on hard drives that aren't connected to the internet, and then they're all just gone from your phone? They're erased from your phone? Guys, you guys keep asking. We haven't seen anyone from this angle. People aren't talking from this angle. People aren't talking and posting their footage. People's footage is getting erased off their phones. People are being silenced. People are being targeted, and it's getting crazy, guys.
You see that? So now he is essentially making a claim. Again, we don't know how believable this guy is because, again, all of this is a grift. Okay? It's all a grift. But think about this, guys. They have cell towers. They know every cell phone that was positioned behind Charlie Kirk. They do. Okay? Right? In theory, Palantir, whatever, the data, the same way they track cell phone pings that went to Epstein Island, they know every cell phone user that was behind Charlie Kirk on the sides there. They know. They have They have that information. Okay? So now his claim is pretty outrageous. Okay? Is that, they're deleting shit off the phones. Again, I don't know that I buy this, but again, it's like this is an unrelated grift that also sounds related to the Candace Owens grift. Okay? Right? That and remember we watched that video of the TPUSA guy that was talking to a reporter, and then the Cooper Brown guy came in and shut it down. Remember that? They're definitely, whether this is true or not true, right, about the deleting, we are definitely in a situation where people are being hushed. The judge in the Tyler Robinson case just issued a blanket gag order, okay, around this case. Like there are attempts to control the information around this that feel a little bit unprecedented, guys.
I don't know where this comes from or what's going on, but yesterday I thought it was an overload because of the followers and comments and all this stuff like that. So I had to turn off my notifications. And then later on when I assessed the situation, I figured out, no, my phone turning different colors and feeling like it's lagging when I'm typing and all this weird stuff and watching it type different things that I'm not typing, just a bunch of strange things. I know I sound like a cuckoo when I'm saying this, but woke up today and a bunch of my videos are gone, not from TikTok, from my library. So luckily I have one of my hard drives with them, and I'm gonna getting every video that I can out to you guys. Please save them, screen record them, spread them. Do everything you can. Literally, they are coming after us.
Okay, so now here's the thing, guys. Is this true or not true? We don't know. Okay? Again, we don't know if this is true or not true. We don't know if guy is believable because, again, everyone who's talking about this and fanning the flames of the conspiracy is kind of grifting. But here's what we do know, guys, is that he's a MAGA, okay? He is a MAGA guy who was there. And like I said, his footage is behind Charlie, okay? If Charlie's here, his camera angle is here. You see the complete back of Charlie's head and neck in this footage, okay? I have the footage that Ryan Simmons guy has, and somebody blew it up and made a 4K version of it. So I have a video that's the original cell phone footage and the 4K version blown up, and I'm going to be putting it into Premiere Pro and going frame by frame and isolating some frames, and I am going to make a video about this. But again, there's a gag order on everyone associated with this. They did with Spencer Cox and the kid's mom, they did an unprecedented, right? They did an unprecedented fucking, you know, like this guy's a leftist campaign, which was not true. Okay? Tyler Robinson, we are going to look at him closer in the coming weeks to establish that this guy is not a leftist. He was not a leftist at all, but they are trying to make him seem like a leftist. Okay? You know what I'm saying? They've tried to do that, so then it can be this they did this to Charlie. We're never going to forgive them. We're like, it's they. Left-wing violence, it excuses their National Guard shit. Okay? And now, what's problematic about this is that, like I said, this guy's not super believable. Everybody is grifting, but there is a greater arc from all sides of the government that looks like they're suppressing information. Okay? You know what I'm saying? They are like, there is a definite suppression of information. I mean, it goes all the way back to the video of supposedly Tyler Robinson running across the roof and jumping off. That wide camera angle shows the shooting position. Like, why didn't they just show him getting up from the shooting position, right? Why do they only show him when he's halfway across the building, right? We won't know, but you know what I'm saying? I know, 1 star, attending a casual Charlie Kirk event, ending up with Zapruder. But anyway, my thing is I want to be very clear that what we want here is we want to exploit the rift inside MAGA. Okay, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm covering this. All right. I'm not emotionally invested in this story. I am just fanning the flames. I want to be very open about that. But guys, one thing I do want to say though, it's not just TikTok that has camera and microphones, guys. Any app, okay? Any app that you allow to, any app that you can upload or download video has access to your camera or to your photo library, okay? If you have a phone, right? If Apple can fucking delete shit on your phone if they want. Easily. Very easily. Okay? If you have a US government app, right? If you have an app for, if you have a government app for parking, or a US government app for paying some type of bill or something, right? Or any US government connected app, they have access to that. You know what I'm saying? Dude, yeah, camera, microphone, I mean, all of it. It's pretty glaring. They all have access, okay? They can certainly, listen to you and look at what's on your phone, and they can absolutely delete what's on your phone. I mean, ostensibly, guys, if they probably tried hard enough, they could probably add some shit on your phone. I mean, that's really scary, right? To think that if the government was really after you and this was really a Palantir situation, they could just plant some nefarious shit on your phone and then come and arrest you, and all of a sudden you'd be right. Oh, look at the fucking 𝗙cie on homie's phone, right? That was never there, right? I mean, dude, it feels like pretty creepy what could happen. This is why that Palantir shit I find really fucking bothersome. You know what I'm saying? I find that stuff really bothersome. You know? But yeah. So anyway, let's go and look. Let's see. Dude, so what is this? I mean, there's a lot of videos. Again, dude, this is all grift. So we don't know what's going on, but like I find this MAGA brawling stuff, it's just too entertaining to not cover. Your phone hates the name Baron. Dude, that's funny, dude. Dude, my phone, every time I say fuck Trump, my phone shakes, dude. And like, kidding. It snaps a photograph, dude. Fuck Trump. Oh, shit. The flash just went off. Oh, fuck. Isn't that funny? Every time. Dude. All right, let's see what we got here.
Charlie Kirk, if you've been following this...
All right, you ready? Dude.
Charlie Kirk, if you've been following this case, you've seen Sam Parker's post. This is the most mind-blowing thing.
All right, so what is the Sam Parker post? Okay. So let's find the post, because that guy, I can't watch that guy's voice. But so here's Sam Parker, neo-federalist, American First Nationalist. Dude, what are these weirdos, bro? All right, so let's see. There, it said Mikey. Dude, I don't even know who these people are. All right, so let's see the post right here. Okay. Oh, so this is what it was. Okay. This is the guy. They're talking about Mikey McCoy. All right. This is the guy who was Charlie Kirk's good friend or close confidant or whatever with the backpack, who, as soon as Charlie got shot, he just walked away calmly. Right. And by the time they pulled Charlie out, this guy was like blocks away, just walking. Okay. But let's see. I want to see what that video was with the post he's talking about. Mikey McCoy shows up in Google searches. Okay, let's see him. Mikey, Google. So this is the post, okay, that they're talking about. All right. So it says, dude, hold on one sec. I got to trim a fingernail. I'll be right back, dude. Hang tight.
Is what I say, I feel far away. Nothing is what I think, I will drown in pain. Yeah. Nothing is what I say, I feel far away. Nothing is what I think, I will drown in pain. Nothing is what I say, I feel far away. Nothing is what I think. Nothing is what I think. 'Cause I will drown in pain.
All right, you ready? All right, here we go. Okay, so So this is the guy's post here. He says, 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍 shows up in Google searches from Cayman Islands IP addresses the day before the Kirk thing, September 9th. However, Charlie Kirk himself is absent from Cayman Island searches. Many others of our cast of characters also showed up. Deirdre Amaro, George Hodson Zinn, Hunter Kozak, Tyler Robinson. Remember how Zinn was telling people who he was paid? But that's not even the half of it. Photographers, videographers, security, legal team, Brylan Hollyhand, and more all show up in searches from the Cayman Islands. Okay, the Cayman Islands are, offshore bank accounts, politicians, tax shelters, etc. Many of these people also show up in unique DC and Israel IP searches as well. Okay. So he's saying he doesn't know what these results mean. He's not saying guilt to anyone, but he is making the assertion that some of the people that were involved in this were being searched up the day before all of this. But I guess what's so crazy about this, guys, is what's hard for me to, when you buy into this, is what would they be doing? You know what I mean? Like why would somebody in the Cayman Islands be searching up 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍? Were they looking for contact information? Oh, let's call 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍, right? You know what I mean? Or all these people, doesn't it seem a little fucking strange that even if they were searching these people, why would they be searching them? Or
hey everybody, Sam Parker here. Look, 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍 has been the subject of a lot of controversy the last couple days. He's been in the news a lot because of his strange reaction at seeing Charlie Kirk being shot.
Now, this again is from, a couple days ago.
He just turns and walks away. And Aaron Coleman, the man who has popularized the Google Trends analysis, did a search for 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍 from the Cayman Islands. Cayman Islands, that tax haven where a lot of people have, bank accounts. And there's a lot of money laundering and money transfers happen from the Cayman Islands. And of course, we're not ascribing any guilt to anybody. We're just looking at the data. So I must emphasize that we're not ascribing guilt to anybody. We're not saying anybody did anything nefarious. We don't know. We're just looking at the data. But it is interesting that somebody in the Cayman Islands was searching for 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍 in August and on September 9th, the day before the assassination. Somebody's searching 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍. But I decided to look for more people. And they weren't just looking for 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍 from the Cayman Islands. Deirdre Amaro, the Utah medical examiner, was searched for from the Cayman Islands on July.
Oh, interesting. Deirdre. So Deirdre Amaro, she's the person who did she's the one who did his autopsy? Interesting. Okay. So who performed the autopsy? The autopsy was performed by Deirdre Amaro, chief medical examiner for the state of Utah, conducted on the same day of his death at Timpanogos Regional Hospital in Orem. Okay? And so it was a single gunshot wound to the neck with the projectile recovered. So the bullet was recovered. We heard Candace Owens talk about it being lodged in the back of his neck. And the full report is confidential. Next of kin, law enforcement, legal representatives, due to the prosecution. So after this case, this shit will come out, or it will likely come out in the midst of the case. Interesting. Okay. All right.
July 23rd. George Hodson Zinn, July 9th. Henry Dell was the first person to ask a question to Charlie Kirk. Okay, that's Henry Dell before Hunter Kozak. And he was searched for on May 31st. Phil Lyman, our friend Phil Lyman, was searched for on June 22nd. But let's keep going. I have more names, so let's just keep going. So these are preliminary results. Like all these, somebody's searching for all of these people from the Cayman Islands. It's kind of wild. Let's push on. Let's do Hunter Kozak. Hunter.
I mean, that's a little weird, right? You know what I'm saying? Dude.
Kozak. Oh my gosh. There's Hunter Kozak. April 22nd. Well, let's see. Who else is in this group? Let's do Paramount Tactical just for kicks. You know, Gary, he did that interview with Henry Dell, right? So Paramount Tactical. Let's just, again, I'm not saying anybody's guilty. Oh my gosh. August 5th, Paramount Tactical, Cayman Islands. This is crazy. Let's do some controls. Let's just do some controls. Let's look for some names that, you know.
See, here's the thing though that's hard, guys, about this stuff, okay? Is like, how accurate is like Google Trends? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's one of the things that is like, right, or how many people use a VPN that says Cayman Islands, right? How many crypto bros or whatever, you know, that like use a Cayman Islands VPN just because they think it makes them cool, makes them like a baller, okay? But what I guess is crazy about this is like, I don't lend a lot of credence to this because it's like looking for it after the fact, right? Like, for example, guys, right? For example, if you know, if I lose a job, right? Like, let me give you an example. You ready? What did I do the other day? I saw that SpaceX had sold $133 million of Bitcoin on the same day that there was an announcement that $130 million was being given to the Pentagon. And so it really looked like Elon Musk was the guy who gave that $130 million, right? Oh, what a coincidence. Right. It's like the way patterns work is if you look for patterns, you will find patterns, okay? That is like the first rule of randomness, is that inside every random occurrence are many, many, many patterns, right? You know what I mean? Like, there are always patterns inside randomness. It's literally randomness is made up of a bunch of unrelated patterns that you can make look related at any time, which is why, like, you know, criminal cases are so hard to prosecute. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, it's true. It's true. It's like, this is what physics and chaos theory and quantum mechanics, exactly. It's why correlation is not causation. Okay. Now, you know, the I guess the thing about the exact dates or whatever, I don't know how, like, you know, let me give you an example from YouTube, right? So every YouTuber, we have YouTube stats, but the money and the impressions and all that is not accurate at first. It's kind of accurate. But then 2 days later, you get accuracy. And that's the way it is with a lot of data. A lot of data is the data comes in, but the accuracy can only be figured out later after all of the data has come in. And so even with these searching the day before, because there is a several hour time difference, you know, It's possible that things are registering on the 9th that happened on the 10th. Google Trends is not accurate down to the fucking, right? Google Trends is not accurate down to the minute of these searching things, There is some lag. So I don't know how accurate this is. But what I will say is that these guys, I will just say this, that the more of this shit I see, and the more that I see like Candace Owens talking about, right, about Candace Owens talking about, there being something to do with the Trump admin, something to do with Erica Kirk, the more I find that scenario believable. Okay? Like, guys, I can absolutely believe that there was a Mormon-raised MAGA kid who was disgruntled about his own sexuality, and he didn't like the Charlie Kirk's negativity, and he did something rash. I can absolutely believe that happened. It's a believable story. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's believable, right? For sure. I could see that. Okay, a crime like that, a crime of passion, a crime of calculated apolitical stuff. I can absolutely see that. Now, what I can also see, though, is a money laundering organization that had a member in it that was getting very big and very popular and maybe going to impede the progress of the Heritage Foundation's larger thing. And I could absolutely see Trump and Erica and the Israel powers that be stepping in and making a sacrifice in order to protect their Epstein world order. I could absolutely see that too. That kind of shit happens all the time, guys. Okay? I mean, it's the way the Shah got put in Iran. It was like Ali North and the Iran-Contra shit during Reagan. Okay? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like those types of things of like sacrificial lambs in order to depose a government or fracture and destabilize some business or outfit. That shit happens all the fucking time. So that's believable too, man. You know what I'm saying? And yes, Miss Felony Strutter, there aren't any 20-year-olds that write, I am very sorry, my love. Right? I mean, I don't know, maybe some Mormons do. But you know what I mean? But like, guys, so just to answer your question, this guy is not saying that this is the same person searching this, okay? This guy is just simply saying, if you search these names from the Cayman Islands, right, that you find that some searches were made. We don't even know how many. I mean, the way Google Trends is it doesn't show you an actual number. It only shows you the relative, right? Like if you look at a Google trend, the 100, the highest number 100 means that's the highest volume of search that has ever occurred, right? And then 10% means 10% of that highest, but you never know the numbers. You know what I'm saying? So what happens is if you look at really famous people, like back when I was acting like Tommy, famous gamer, whenever shit would up, I would do something crazy and Google Trends for my name would hit 100. And then you would see it go down to like 20 and it would stay there because people were searching my YouTube. They were searching my comp stuff, right? But then when, I got into it with Andrew Tate, it went to a new 100 that was even higher than the first 100, right? And then that first 100 went down to like a 50. So all of this is relative. So this activity could be one search, right? This activity could be one single search. I did get into it with Tate, yeah, in 2022. The summer of 2022, I did a debate thing with some gamers and Andrew Tate, and I called him out for being a pig, and it caused some fucking chaos. It started my political career, essentially, and sort of ended my gaming career. Yeah, dude, I mean, it's one of the greatest things I ever did in my life was to be able to tell him to his face. Even at one point, he said something about, like, you lack balls. And I even yelled balls. Like, you and I both know I have more balls than you'll ever have, dude. And he was like, what the fuck is going on, dude? It's funny. It was like standing up to the ultimate bully, dude. It was good shit. All right. But, like, dude, let's go. Dude, who's not banned? I'm not banned. Nobody's banned. Dude, somebody thinks they're banned. But yeah, no, it was good. I mean, I feel good about it because the gaming career was, oh shit. Oh yeah. No. I see. When I reset it, there we go, guys. No, you're not banned. It was not that you're banned. We've had this before. When my chat blew out and I had to reset the chat, it was on top chat. So that some of you don't get seen. All right. And so you think you're banned, you're not banned. It was my fucking chat thing after the thing reset. But anyway, so my thing about this, dude, I made a video about this, guys. We'll watch the video, okay, at some point. We're not going to watch it tonight, so I'm going to go make some videos. But we will watch the video about it. I made a video about it. It's pretty big. But for me, guys, it was like I didn't like being a gamer. All right, it felt empty and hollow. And if you want to read about it I'll put a link here on my Instagram. There's a post right here that has 2 paragraphs. Okay. Let me see here. There we go. There's 2 paragraphs about why I left gaming on that Instagram post. Okay. And so I was unhappy with gaming. And I definitely was like upset about the influence of influencers like Andrew Tate and shit back in 2022. And so ultimately what happened was I got a chance to be in a Discord call with this guy and to fucking call him out and his bullshit and him, you know, his manipulation. Now, I wasn't a great debater then. I was in the airport. I was in New York City because I got a billboard on Times Square. Okay, let me go back to the fucking post. Let me see here. Right, let me find the post here. I have to go back. I was in New York for this, okay? I had a billboard in Times Square, all right? And so I was in New York for the billboard. And then there was I used to have pink hair when I was a gamer. And so what happened was, while I was in New York, one of the top gamer kids that was like in my gamer network was having a Andrew Tate debate on his stream. And so his manager, I contacted his manager and was like, why are you fucking doing this? And he's like, dude, you want to get in on this? And I'm like, fuck yeah. So I was in New York City. When you see me, when we eventually watch this video and you see me yelling at Andrew Tate and calling him out, I was in the airport, in JFK Airport, in a room with 300 fucking people with my computer camera on my laptop and headphones, like yelling at fucking Andrew Tate. Am I right? Screaming at him in the airport. And everybody's just hearing me yell at this guy. Dude, it's pretty funny, right? I was like balls to the wall on this shit, you know, and, you know, don't regret a thing with it. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing about this, guys, is I look at it like this. Andrew Tate is a fraud. He's a charlatan. He's a gaslighter. He's a rapist, human trafficker who monetizes young boys' fears and vulnerabilities in order to try and sell them a power that they're never going to have, okay? And he lies to them and manipulates them, and he does it all for money, okay? He's shitty, dude. He is weak, and he is a scoundrel. He is one of the weakest men out there. So insecure, okay? And there was no way I was going to let that guy not have a piece of my mind. Okay. I'm just any type of like bully that is fraudulent like that anywhere, whether it's Andrew Tate or my boss or a dude I see at a coffee shop. When I run into those motherfuckers in life, I get in their face and I give them a piece of my mind. I call them out publicly. Always. I do. I have always done that. Dude, I had like when my kid was in first grade, he played pee-wee football. And there was an abusive coach on that football team that like abused young guys, the kids that weren't very good at football. He tried to like harass them off the team. And I collected information on this guy. I took it to the league. I got him suspended. All his buddies fought me all season. It was this crazy shit. In the end, that guy like threatened me. And I was like, dude, you have no fucking balls. Like, you're not going to do shit to me. Like, you and I both know you're a fucking pussy and that you aren't, like, you can't scare me, bro. Like, I stand up to bullies like you all the time. Like, fuck off, right? I'm not afraid of you. But, like, I've been standing up to these kind of abuser guys, dudes. It's what I do. It's why, like, fighting Trump and these red pill guys just feels second nature to me. You know, I will never let those kinds of abusers get away scot-free, man. It doesn't mean I can beat them all, but I'm sure as fuck gonna try. And I'm not afraid of their threats. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Like, they're weak, okay? Guys that do that kind of bullying are weak, dude. And they do, you're right, Ron. Abusive personalities love coaching, especially little kids. They get to yell at them and scream at them. But anyway, There's some shit with Candace Owens where I think Candace Owens is on to something. And at the very least, guys, you're welcome, Laurel. And at the very least, you ready? At the very least, no matter what happens, okay, no matter what happens, I think Candace Owens has the potential to crack the MAGA coalition. And we're going to crack the MAGA coalition. And Joe, am I good at all video games? I'm actually not that good at video games, guys. I'm just good at marketing, okay? With me in the video games, I was not that good at video games. I mean, I was probably good for my age, but mostly I'm a genius marketer and I'm really good at building community. And so during the Fortnite community, like during the pandemic, I was able to just build a Fortnite community that helped a lot of young people deal with the craziness of the pandemic because of my positivity and my dancing and my aggressive, like, we're not going to be defeated kind of nature. And so I was in the right place at the right time. And I'm also crazy. So I decided to go pro and try to compete with the pros and do all this outlandish shit that no other old guy my age could do. And I was able to, like, you know, rally a team and kind of like, you know, I'm a good community builder. So I was just the right guy at the right time at the right fucking, you know, like crazy, like global psyche thing that, you know, but the community sucked, bro. You know, it was like so much toxic gaming and a lot of those people, they don't want to be rescued, the red pill shit. And eventually I got tired of trying to be a light for people that just want to exist in darkness. And so I was like, you know, fuck you. I'm going to take my light and shine it somewhere where people want some light. You know what I mean? Because eventually I felt like I was wasting, like they didn't, a lot of that community didn't deserve the fucking energy that I offer up, because I offer some real powerful positivity, but a lot of those guys just didn't deserve it, man. And I was feeling a real guilt, like a personal guilt, that my following was a bunch of young men that were horribly addicted to video games. And like, you know, I went to some things where like my fans were like 7 years old, and I'm like, dude, I don't want 7-year-old kids. I don't want to be making money off them being addicted to TikTok and Fortnite, you know? You know what I mean? That felt like kind of grody to me. You know, I didn't want that. I didn't want that money. It felt like bad money. If you go to that Instagram post, you can read about it. I talk about that in the Instagram post. How I was really addicted to Fortnite. Like what I discovered is I was very addicted to the game, and I had turned my addiction into a lot of money, but it was money that I was making off young kids being addicted to the game. And that felt like another version of like bartending to children sort of thing that just didn't make me feel like I have personal like integrity issues with that, right? I had issues with fucking, you know, with making money off bartending. You know what I'm saying? And so, right? And so, like, for me, making money off kids being addicted to that shit didn't feel right. It never sat right with me. It felt like dirty money, you know? It's hard. I mean, there's like a Buddhist in me that sort of, you know, that really, I have to be earning my money in a way that is good for my integrity, or it's harmful to my sort of energetic, right? I can do it. I made money off bartending for years, but I paid a psychic price for that. And when I quit bartending, even though I was struggling, like my internal fucking circuitry was like much better, right? I have an integrity switch that when that shit's not firing correctly, it hurts me. It causes me like a psychic pain, and that materializes in my relationships and in my creative life as well. Dude. All right. You ready for the dance party? Dude, let's go, baby. Dude, let's go. It's time for fucking dance party, boss. I'm going to go make some videos. But again, I don't know what Candace Owens is onto, but I feel like Candace Owens is onto something. And even if Candace Owens is not onto something, I'm going to help her fracture. Let's break up the MAGA coalition, baby. Let's fuck this shit up, shall we? All right. Now, let's dance. Let's go. Yeah, the Swedish artist's name. Again, guys, I've reached out to him and let him know that I dance to his music every day and told him that I love him. His name is Stefan Karlin. And so he did get back to me. So, like, that's just kind of like how I am. I'm sort of a networker. So after listening to his music and shit, of course, I sent him a message and said, hey, man, I'm streaming to, you know, a couple thousand people every night and playing this song, and fucking, you know, we really love your music and keep going. If you're ever feeling down and ever feeling like it's not getting out there, know that there's some of us out here fucking loving what you're doing, you know, and who knows, maybe one day he and I will make a musical collab. Yeah, I found him on Epidemic Sound. So because I do YouTube, I have a subscription to Epidemic Sound. And that allows me to put various music. They have a huge music library, and so it's all legit on my YouTube channel. I've been using Epidemic Sound for like 5 years now, right? It's a really good service. And they have great music. Mostly I use the instrumental shit for videos. But then when I started streaming on YouTube, I had to find copyright music copyright free music I could use. And I found Stefan on the Epidemic Sound. Right. And that's how I found him, on the music service. And then, yeah, though, reaching out to him was great because I like to do that. I am a networker, guys, that I don't know about you, but I am a networker, right? I've always been that way. Like when I went to film school at 40, you know what I did, guys? This was in, 2009. I turned 40. I decided I was going to film school. I wanted to be an editor, which now I'm editing YouTube videos. I'm going to tell you a little story here before we start, but I wanted to be an editor. So one day I grabbed all my favorite David Fincher movies and I looked at the editor's name and it was the same guy, a guy named James Haygood. And I'm like, huh, okay, so I guess I like James Haygood's editing. So then I went on Facebook and I found James Haygood. And then I sent him a message and said, hey, man, are you the James Haygood from the David Fincher movies? Because if you are, I love your editing. I'm 40 years old. I'm going to film school to be an editor. I used to be a musician. I would love to pick your brain and fucking become your friend. And he replied back and said, yes, that is me. And oh, I was a musician too. It's going to help you. And then all through film school, I would send him like edits and shit. And then I went to LA and he brought me into the Tron editing room and showed me an early cut. And like, he just became a guy who fucking was a connection soundboard that helped me out. And eventually he introduced me to one of the sound guys for David Fincher, who's now a friend of mine and lives a couple miles from me here in Portland. So like, it's like, you just never know what can happen if you like reach out to people and just, say, hey, and you got to do it in a way. Like, if you're going to do this, the cardinal rule is you have to realize, though, you ready? I have to give you a disclaimer. You have to do it free of expectation, which means, like, if I reach out to someone and they tell me to, like, fuck off or go away or no, I won't help you, there's never a hurt feeling. I'm never upset. I never feel like they owe me something. I never judge their reaction. Right? And I respect if they say, no, I'm not interested. I never fucking harass them again. Right? It's like you have to be pure of it, where I am reaching out because of my admiration for their work and a sincere desire to connect and learn from them. And if they don't want that, then they're like, nothing lost. And even if they say no to me, if they come later and decide to ask for my help or reach back, I welcome them with open arms, right? You have to be pure about it. Like, if you're going to do that kind of networking, you have to be honest. And I mean, I've done it with all kinds of people. I wrote a letter to Dean Koontz, the author, asking him for the rights to one of his movies. If I could if I could make one of his novels I loved and write a screenplay and shop it. And he said no and wrote me back and told me a whole story about him and Martin Scorsese. I have the fucking letter. But dude, I mean, it never hurts to reach, right? And ask. Like, what did it hurt? I loved his novel. I wrote him a letter telling him how much I loved his novel, right? And he wrote me back, right? You just never know, guys. If you're pure and you reach for people and you ask for genuine, like, connection, I've found that most people actually respond, and it may not lead to anything, but it's like, it's a connection based not on trying to get something or not trying to level jump, but based on like a sincere, like, pure heart. And I believe in it, guys. I do this shit all the time, bro. Like, nobody is off limits. I remember way back when I like reached out to Russell Wilson's fucking his like mental coach, his mind focus coach, asking the guy to help me, and he declined. But I like asked him. I was like, hey man, here's my background. I'd really like to work with you, but I can't afford you. You want to do some pro bono work? And he was like, no, thank you. And I'm like, all right, but dude, sometimes you gotta reach, baby. Right? Reach for the stars. Okay? Believe, just be willing to ask. All right, you ready? Let's go. It's time. So we're in story mode. It's time for a little deja vu, baby. I hope that helps you. Right? Yeah, people are people, man. I mean, that's what I've just discovered is like most people are just, if you're genuine, they're genuine back. Let's get it.
just a bit holy, notion that I will make it out somehow.
Let's go! Oh! Let's go, baby! Ooh, that felt good, didn't it? No, 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 I wanna be free. I wanna be free. Let me free, yeah, yeah, yeah. Woo! Freedom, yeah. Woo! Free, yeah, yeah, yeah. Freedom, yeah. Woo! Yeah, thank you guys again for a great stream. Now it's time to get ready and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Hey, I just wanna change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't wanna hang around, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. Hey, I just wanna change the world, but I'm not gonna wait my turn. I don't ever want to come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant. I'm gonna about you. I will never be alone.